Log in, guys. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Having a good day? It's about to get much better in 3 minutes. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Cetabyte, and the sub. And Left for Dead with the Prime as well. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. What is in 3 minutes? In 3 minutes, I am allowed to speak. Right now, my voice is silenced. Oppressed. Those up there, don't let me. Anyway, yeah, I just got out of like a 5-hour YouTube recording session for like 7 videos or some shit. The longest one being 1 hour and 43 minutes, I believe. So that's a funny video. Soulstone arrived. Nope. But I heard that people got something. Sounds cool. Hello, Nini. So I got a lot of stuff here prepared. Well, I basically went through all my footage and, you know, a lot of stuff I recorded here over the past 1.5 weeks. So I can show off some builds here and explain mechanics and testing I've done and all that kind of things. And a lot of people have a lot of questions about how the class works and, you know, what builds will be good and how everything is working together and stuff. So I can talk a lot about that. That's the plan for today. How many videos are dropping today? I would guess around 2 million. If you combine them all. But for me, I actually lost count at this point. I think it's like 6 or 7 or 8 or something. I mean, I didn't really have any time to prepare anything. Like, it ended yesterday. And I was just like doing Maxwell shit. And then tomorrow, in the morning, basically, I started blasting. So as much as I could now, basically the entire afternoon, I was just sitting here recording. And SCR has been prepping stuff. Yo, on the dot, man. Boom. There's the pin. Okay, then. Let's go. Alright. So yeah, that's the long video. The Spiritborn Compendium. That's, oh, it's still, prepping the thing. But yeah, I recorded like we have a premiere schedule for this actually in 1 minute. That's like a 1.5 hour video that you guys might want to watch later. And that has basically everything in it, like skills, uniques, Paragon, everything I could think of basically, how stuff works. There's no early access. No, there's not any early access. This was just the press release basically. So before a launch like this, they give it to, you know, like magazines and websites and whatever to play and do reviews and stuff. And they also invited content creators that are like Diablo partners to play the game. So that included me. There goes the Diablo Discord channel. Let's go. Okay, I was gonna like put on some B-roll while they edit, I suppose. Like this one, maybe? Okay. So, that's the Spiritborn, guys. I have an entire folder full of stuff here. And 7 guides I've been writing for Maxwell for Spiritborn. There's a lot of stuff coming, which are not 100% ready yet, since we have like the news from the patch notes and you know, some stuff that is like from early access that changed and like the mechanics we found out and stuff like that. One question, Ure. I did not actually check anything about Ure, I gotta say. Sepke. Is the class fast? It is. It's very fast, actually. Let me show you something about fast. Maybe here. Yeah, okay, he was playing a Payback build. That was really fun, actually. Payback was super fun. One of my favorite builds of the class. Bam, 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 bam. Really fun. Guaranteed crit, guaranteed overpowers, kapow. Jumping around. It was really cool. The class is super fast. In fact, it is so fast that at some point I just like removed Rushing Claw. If you were here in like the last few weeks, I put Rushing Claw into every single build. And when I played it, I just realized I have to remove Rushing Claw. I didn't use it in any build. It's just so fast because it just jumps from enemy to enemy and from pack to pack. And you have the hunter like every 5 seconds. That is actually like a teleport basically. So you have like basically a built-in teleport. Yo, Fluffy. Maxwell planner updated when? It should be sometime tonight, hopefully. So. Do you know how bad characters will be if you don't own the expansion? I mean, they will function, but you won't have runes, you won't have mercenaries, so it's gonna be a bit weaker. You won't have access to like all of the possible combos, you know. Some builds will actually rely on runes because they do something special, like the Soul Rift build, for example, is unplayable without runes. And it's kind of stuff like that. TLDR, you buy the expansion. This is the updated pit difficulty, yeah. This is 64. I mean, you have to see that this was Omega scuffed builds here, like like the not build, but the setup, you know, like my gear, my average masterworking on most of these builds is like 1 or 2. And like my average amount of ancestors is like 0 on most of these clips that you're about to see today, because it was almost impossible to farm anything. There was a bug in this early access where you just didn't get iron chunks and rawhide. You just couldn't masterwork your shit. You couldn't temporary shit. It was horrible, man. Like, you got almost nothing. It was really hard to get anywhere. And everything was very costly with like these random salvage materials. So I only managed to salvage stuff, farm up gear, and then salvage it, and then you would like be able to masterwork something or so, but it was super slow. Did you get the mythic unique weapon? No, but it's trash. So I didn't even wanna try it anyway. So there's actually 2 mythic weapons for this class, and they're both trash, so. Numbers are still at high. Yeah, you will be able to reach billions, probably, on like the really powerful builds. So like, you know, Bone Spirit probably will be able to do it. I mean, the nerfed numbers, not that much. Maybe the nerfed numbers by like, I don't know, let's say 70-80%, and then they buffed monsters a little bit. So yeah, it's not even like -1-0 basically. And then I mean on the PTR we did like, I don't know, 10 billion plus hits or so on the strongest builds, I guess, or even like, I don't know, 30 billion. So yeah, we will probably even still see like 10+ billion on like the really hard hitters. It kind of sucks that the mythic unique weapons are trash. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were doing there, but I can't really imagine them to be good, at least. Especially with the power of Rod of Kapileke. This is what you see here right now. I use Kapileke. You see my resources, they go 0 and up all the time. This is with Rod of Kapileke here. And we get guaranteed crit and guaranteed overpower from the Banished Lord's Talisman. Actually, in this setup, I didn't have the Banished Lord's Talisman every hit. This was like kind of a scuff build, and I think I'll fix it later. Or maybe a potion ran out. I think a potion ran out. Yeah, this looks better. So here we have guaranteed overpower. It's a funny build. I will make several setups like this, actually, where you spend and gain 275 resources every single hit. So I'm gonna make some setups like this, like Quill Volley probably. You can also do armor stacking, but I really like the overpower stuff. Feels good. Can't be lucky. I don't know how to pronounce that, but this is what I say. So I got this here. This is this item. This is the main unique you're looking for from most builds. Do you think a Thorns build could be S tier? Rock Splitter Thorns, I think I'm gonna put it S tier. Yeah. That will probably reach like pit 100 or at least close to it. It doesn't have the greatest boss damage. It will kind of fall off compared to Quiverly and Touch of Death. Those two are the two best. I can't really pinpoint exactly which one is the stronger one because they're both pretty ridiculous. But yeah, Quiverly, Touch of Death are OP. And then Rock Splitter is probably the third actually. Yo, Falcon, thanks this up, dude. Being happy if one iron drops, Diablo 4 Ruthless mode. Yeah, kind of like that, man. Like, you can actually use one of the mercenaries to... I do have that stuff now. Here, Subo. So Subo has this upgrade here where... here, passive, super reveals nearby enemies, traps, and materials. So you can actually like walk around and you see like dots. It's like a map hack on your minimap. And you can actually like go around and click on nodes, you know. I was actually doing this for a while, just because I needed iron chunks, man. Oof. Thanks, Klein87, and that when, appreciate that. Do you have some campaign spoiler? Nah, campaign spoilers are not allowed until launch. So, nothing for campaign. Demon Boy best? No, Demon Boy is by far the worst. I would not recommend it to anyone. Unless you really want like one of the effects that it does, but it's not really that crazy. So there's something like, okay, you can get resources, and you can get, like, I think extra 10 crit or some shit. But I mean, these buffs are not really better than other buffs from other mercenaries, and they don't have a shitty downside. So... there's nothing to spoil for the campaign. The campaign is very long, I can tell you that. Campaign is quite long for an expansion. And it will take up quite a lot of time for your first character, since you are forced to play the campaign. But it's pretty cool, I liked it. How many builds will be added to a tier list in total across classes? I could check our content sheet, but I would think something like 20 maybe. So we have, I think, like 9 or 10 Spiritborn builds for Endgame. And then, yeah, like, you know, 1 or 2 per the other classes, so... I thought I didn't get to play the campaign. I did, actually. Just like everyone else. That super ability seems too good to not use. You would think that, but it's actually... the super thing is kind of funny, but realistically you don't really need it. Like, I found myself, like, just looking at the minimap way too much and not really looking at the screen, and that was kind of bad, actually. And there are pretty good perks on all of these. Like, Variana is probably the overall best follower, I'd say, because she gives the movement speed buff, and then she gives you an attack speed buff, and then she gives you a second attack speed buff. Yeah, also damage reduction there, you can do the pull-in. So lots of really good stuff here, I think, from Mariana. Right here is really strong. He has the resistance and the armor. So that's pretty cool. So this helps you, like, you know, when you go into next torment difficulty, you can just take right here for a while until you fix your res, for example. That's kind of cool. And right here is also OP with the Bastion. So one combo that is ridiculously OP is use right here as a reinforcement. And then there is the new... is that here? I have to go here, I guess. So there's the new aspect. This one. Which says that after casting an ultimate skill, your mercenary, call your mercenary for reinforcement. And this ignores the cooldown. So if you cast your ult, you can just have permanent right here, 90% damage reduction from the Bastion. Like Rain of Arrows Rogue, Death Trap Rogue, even a bunch of Spiritborn, you cast Hunter like every 3 seconds, you cast Seeker every 3 seconds or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous. So that was really good. I didn't really abuse it much because I wanted to, you know, also play builds properly, but it was extremely powerful. So right here, Bastion and reinforcement, when you have that aspect. Yeah, it is broken as hell. Do I will create new build for Spiritborn? Yes. Please tell me poison build is endgame viable for Spiritborn. I can tell you, poison builds, kind of, but realistically they're Noxious Resonance builds, so they don't really feel like poison builds. they're kind of like, okay, you poison them up and then they go boom. They've changed Noxus Resonance to consume the poison on the target and explode. So you don't have like a poison running all the time. You just kind of poison them up and then explode and poison and explode and so on. So yeah, I have not really found a use for like a real poison build. There's like a ring for it, for example. Can't search for it, unfortunately. This one, Midday Hunt, which says while you have Ferocity, the poisoning effects deal the damage across 33% of the normal duration. So basically, your total damage is unchanged, but your DPS goes up by 200% for poisoning. But this means you have to play not Noxious Resonance and do something else instead. But I found like all of the poison builds were just better with Noxious Resonance. At least late game, it has this crit damage scaling, and you can double dip on 2 glyphs. And it's very, very powerful. So Touch of Death is looking like the strongest or the second strongest. How much XP you get from finishing campaign? A lot. We also had to do Renown. We had like completely fresh accounts, so we had nothing. And I was kind of like higher level than I should have been. But on launch, you will have to do only the new zone Renown, which will be very fast. It will take like an hour or something. Because you only need to get to step 4, and they made it faster and less required. And then that's it. But then you have to do some Renown, and then a campaign. And the campaign will basically auto level you to 60, I guess, plus minus. So for your first character, the campaign just kind of carries you, but it's also very slow. And then on the second character, you're just gonna do like, I don't know, Helltide, Cure Rest, and like Strongholds, I guess. When will the builds start updating on max roll? We gave them green light basically today. We're gonna probably start pushing the first builds live. And then tomorrow I want to have the majority out, so that's the plan right now. And the tier list tomorrow as well. How is your talisman payback idea going? That's actually pretty much what I just showed here. Yeah, this is Banishor's Talisman Payback Kapeleke. A very good build. Not the best, but it's pretty decent. You can do a very similar combo with the other core skills as well. So I was doing something similar on Crushing Hand, on Quill Volley, and it kind of like worked pretty well. Pretty fun. The cool part about Payback is there is no Payback size tempers, but Kapeleke, whenever it triggers, it will make the Payback larger, regardless of the missing size temper. So you actually have decent AoE. You don't even need the Bristleback. Bursting Vengeance? Whatever, the payback aspect. And that's Jaguar, by the way. Can it be better if you stack Fortify after Merc and Max Life? Yeah, you want to get Fortify. Mercenary has Fortify, or you can do Assimilation aspects, so one of the two. That will give you, I don't know, if I had to guess, probably something like 20-30% DPS from the extra additive damage that you're gonna get. Should be pretty good. I was not actually running Fortify in the setup here. Maybe I did? I'm not sure. But I have no Fortify right now, so I didn't have a good source of it at least. What build on Spiritborn is the most noob-friendly? Probably Crushing Hand. It just makes you very tanky by default. It's a very good speed farming build, so if you stay on in low difficulties, you're just gonna blast everything. It has great AoE. Not great boss damage, but it's tanky, great AoE, good speed farmer. I would probably put it in S tier for speed farming for late game, because it just like hits the entire screen and one-shots the entire screen basically in Helltides and Cures and a city and stuff. You can do very fast runs, but you can't push very high with it. I think that's probably one of the most noob-friendly. And otherwise, I mean, Stinger might be okay. That also has like built-in healing, which is kind of cool. The block chance cap at 100? Yes. Redirected force only stacks up to 100% block chance. This looks like Gorilla Jag. I think I had Gorilla on the setup actually. Yeah, this is actually like a full Gorilla build here, look. So you see the perma unstoppable, this means we have the Gorilla secondary. I might have primary Jaguar actually. But yeah, there's like very interesting combos you can do with some of the Spirit Hall stuff. They made it like much more balanced. The only one that is like unusable basically is Eagle. Like both Eagle or Spirit Hall choices are just unusable pretty much, I think. Outside of really, you know, if you really want like the Eagle tag with Harmony, for example, from the secondary, then sure. Or if you, there's like some stuff you can do with the Storm Feathers from Eagle Hall on the primary, especially for leveling in the early game. Eagle was pretty good, but in late game, it's kind of just like its own little build, and that's about it. So otherwise, there's like no reason to use it ever. Early game though, the Eagle is pretty good. Like in like level 30 or level 50 or so, you just use Eagle, and you evade sometimes. It's pretty good. So it's this here. These Storm Feathers, there's some funny stuff you can do actually, which is you can like perma evade and shoot out feathers all day long. I might have this as a clip somewhere, let me check. Yeah, feather evade only build. Okay. So I was trying some funny stuff here. Looks like this. That's kind of a thing. It's not very strong, but it does go very fast. I think it can actually go faster than a horse like this. Oh. I was trying to make a clip here. I got an error. Okay. So yeah, it's very funny. You can do like very fast dungeon clears as well. I think I'm into blind burrows here. Exactly. Let's see that. There's also only Torment 2. I was like scuffed setup, but I just wanted to see like how fast it goes. And it can kind of just like evade. Can we show EA Planner? We can, yeah. We're about to update to EA Planner for the live planner actually. Spiritborn is fast boy. Yep. Like this evade stuff, this was actually really scuffed here because I had a wrong evade mod on my boots here. You see I only have one charge, and for a setup like this you should actually have multiple charges so that you have like a leftover basically when you don't get a proc. There's a proc that resets your evade. And this is how I'm actually doing this. But sometimes I run out of evade charges because I don't get the proc. That's a bit clunky with only one charge. But if you have 2 or 3, then it's gonna be fine. What's draining the HP? That's the Jackham's Shell. That's the unique chest. I use this in like almost every single build. That's like the best item for Spiritborn basically. Jackham's Shell is OP. How long is the campaign? Quite long. I didn't time it or anything, but several hours for sure. Any builds of Mystic Circles? Mystic Circles was like Omega nerfed, and it's not really gonna be like a main mechanic for the entire class anymore, and I'm very glad about it. I hate playing with Mystic Circles, honestly. It's mainly used for Fawns builds, I think. And then maybe the occasional like kind of push build or something, but most builds either have Kepineke and they have other issues to solve, or they you know, just don't have the aspect slots basically. So Mystic Circles is mostly a Fawns thing, I believe, because there's not many things that buff Fawns much. But yeah, this was funny here with the evade. So this is the aspect of Exhilaration. I can show that. This one, which has it's a resource aspect, and this gives you a chance to reset your evade cooldown. I'm not sure why it works, because I tested these Storm Feathers that come from the Eagle Hall, and they don't actually have any lucky hit, but somehow just like a hit thing triggers, so I'm not sure what's wrong with that, but this is what it looks like. S tier still Spiritborn tier? Pretty much. So Mippy was doing a lot of rogue testing, and yeah, Dance on Knife still looks like one of the best rogue builds, but rogue in general apparently does not really look like it's just gonna crush Pit 100 or so anymore. And yeah, I guess S tier is Spiritborn tier, and then there's like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 rogue builds, maybe Mighty Throw, and then probably like Bone Spirit, and that's basically it. So maybe Elemental Constellation for Sorks looks pretty OP, as far as I know. How was the raid? It was really fun, actually. At least, like, you know, doing it a few times, I think will be pretty enjoyable for most people. I'm not sure if it will have like a lot of longevity, but yeah, doing the raid, I had a good time. Like, you know, voice comm with like, we did it with Chronix and Condis and Ava, and also another run I did with Darkside instead of Ava. It was really fun. I'm actually gonna upload a full run with voice comms from the raid, where we were just like chilling for like 1.5 hours. That was cool. Hardcore friendly? Hell no. Raid is not hardcore friendly. You gotta get good. And have your finger on the scroll. Raid is farmable, but it has a weekly extra reward. So it's not really worth doing without the weekly, I think. But you can repeat the weekly on other characters. So you can actually just level multiple copies of the same build, and then swap all your gear over to the next character and do a run again, and another run, and another run. So that's a thing, yes. Voice chat is mandatory? No. Like, once you have done the raid once or twice and you know what's going on, you don't need voice comms. I think for the first time, it's probably worth it, but it's not like omega complicated mechanics. You know, you have to like, click on stuff. Maybe I can show some stuff, actually. Okay, so like sometimes you have to like click on some stuff. Let's find the start here of this. So this is the raid. You go in there, you kind of like fight your way through. There's like some bonus monsters you can kill and stuff like that, but mostly you just kind of try to find the end. And then here, for example, there's like a soul siphon, and there's like 2 of them. So you have like 2 guys there, 2 guys there. You charge the thing while standing in it. Okay, then you go on, and then here's like the pressure plates. You stand on it, it opens the door, so someone goes through. So like this basically, and then you go on the other one, it opens the other door, and then you split up. So it's kind of like how that works. This is like the pre-boss stuff, and basically on the way to the boss, you learn how the boss works. Like the bosses have these mechanics that you see here. So just keep this in mind, that the stuff that you see at the start is what the boss will have at some point. And also here on the right, you have the objectives. You can always just take a look there, and then it tells you, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that. This is kind of like your guide through the thing as well. So you don't need to like remember everything by heart. You just look there and then you remember, okay, I have to do this. So, you know, there's like similarities between the different wings and the different bosses and stuff like that. So usually you have to like, you know, find, or like you have to slay a certain monster that has like a name. Like here the Ward Guardians, for example. So the Ward Guardians, they will drop an item, then you pick up that item, you bring it to the thing, and then you dispel the ward, these kind of things. Yeah, we're playing Dark Shot on Spiritborn. Can other people kill you by messing up mechanics? Not directly. Like you will have a chance to react to it. So like on hardcore, for example, you can scroll out if something goes wrong. It's not like you insta die or something like that. There's this one thing here. You see this on the right, it's Impending Doom. This is like a mechanic where they have like an enrage timer. You need to finish a certain thing until, you know, that is over, and then it fills up, and if it fills up, you die. So some bosses have this, and here's like something like that. But you can see the bar filling. And you know, if it fills, then you can scroll out, for example, before that. So it's just to make sure that you don't just, you know, turtle up too much, and you actually have to kill stuff, basically, in like a reasonable time. How do you feel about Eagle Endgame, and how do you feel about Gorilla Endgame? Well, that depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the skills, the one that you see here right now, Quill Volley, is the best or the second best build on Spiritborn. So that's gonna be definitely the build to play, I think. It works very well from level 1 all the way to basically pit 100. Very good build, very fun. So it is like the build for Spiritborn, I guess, for now, Quill Volley. And Gorilla, I mean, there's Crushing Hand, there's Payback. They're both okay. They're mostly like speed farming. Not that great on bosses. Payback is probably a bit better than Crushing Hand for that. But you're kind of tanky. And then Gorilla also had a bunch of Thorn stuff. Rock Splitter Thorns is very strong. That was also probably like S tier territory, I would say. And there's Payback Thorns, which is kinda oof. So I like a real payback build, not a Thorns build. A bit more than the Thorns. Yeah, and then what else is there? Okay, Razor Wings. Yeah, kind of weak, to be fair. They're like over-nerfed it a bit after the after the debacle from August, where I spammed like 200 Razor Wings on the screen. So that is kind of ditch right now. Centipede of Andy. You don't do Centipede with Andy. There's not a reason to, because Andy does pretty much exactly what Centipede does. So there's no reason to double down on it. But Andariel's Spiritborn is actually a thing. I put together like a really scuffed Andariel's Spiritborn, which was also based on Quill Volley. And it was actually pretty easy Tone 4 farming, so it was pretty strong. I didn't really like optimize it. But it's an alternative way of gearing a character. It basically has the same skill bar as this, and the same playstyle as this, but it plays with Andariel's and poisons and stuff. So that's kind of Andariel's Spiritborn. So we may make a setup for this. We were actually thinking about something like that also for max roll. But yeah, right now we are kind of just like waiting to see if that's gonna be a thing. Why are you losing so much HP? That's the Jaguar shell. It drains you by 10% per running cooldown. So you can drain like 50 to 60% of your life per second. You need a little feeling for that. How long to get to Paragon 300? Almost no one will ever do that, I think. So what you see here is people have like 250, 290, whatever. But this was mostly based on a bug. There was a bug with one of the seasonal theme opals that gave you like, I don't know, 1,000 times XP or something like that, like ridiculous amounts of XP. And this is what people use to get to like very high Paragon levels. So realistically, leveling to 300, this would be, I don't know how long, but probably a couple of weeks, I guess. For most people, if you play like every day. Maybe you can really try to like rush it and I don't know, do it in like a week or something. But I don't know. Maybe if you do like non-stop Infernal Horde in 4-man or something, you get a lot of XP in Infernal Horde, so that is still there. But you can't like chain back-to-back Infernal Hordes all day long anymore. But in a party, you get pretty close to that. Rob said 200 hours. Yeah, 200 hours sounds optimistic, I think. But yeah, we'll see. Where's this build? Yeah. But tomorrow on Maxwell. How's the compass drop rate? I'm not sure actually, but I did stack up a bunch of compasses. I think you still get them where you used to get them, you just can't craft them anymore, basically. So Helltide chests and pits and stuff, they drop compasses from time to time. Also, I think the seasonal theme stuff gives you compasses. So you do get quite a bunch for Infernal Hordes. I didn't really do Infernal Hordes very much, though. I almost never did any Infernal Hordes, so I just tried a few times to like see or test a build or something. Yeah, this is what I played here. Seven Necro strong. Yeah, 7 Necro is pretty good. They put Harmony at 30%. Yeah, Harmony is a very good item. Harmony, Shaco, Perdition are gonna be the 3 helms you have on this class, basically. Not really any other helms. I tried Loyalty Helm a bit, but I was a bit underwhelmed. There's like a few cases where I would run Loyalty, like especially if you go like for a go-go build, like a Gorilla Fawn setup or something, probably wants Loyalty, just because it literally doubles your Fawn's output. Not even that necessarily though, because you can have the weapon temper as well for Gorilla Hall's potency. But let's say a perfect temper. This would be this, right? Right. So this would be the Mafia. So it's a 36% upgrade with Loyalty if you have the temper. Not that crazy actually. Probably want to go Perdition on such builds. It looks like a lot of fun, non-stop blasting. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's very easy to solve resources on this class with, you know, several things. There's like Scourge, they can spam. There's like the Midnight Ring. There's a lot of Kapineke. So you kind of get to the point where you spam your core skills all the time very easily. And yeah, there you go, basically. What is 200% more damage to angels and demons? It is fixed, actually. Well, in this client, it was not fixed, so you might see some, funny damage numbers, some people posting their clips now and whatever, like billions of damage or some shit. But that is actually fixed in the patch notes. So in this version, it was not fixed, so people had Perdition Helm equipped and did like some ridiculous numbers. How does the class feel leveling? Pretty solid, I'd say. It's not like Necro tier, I would say, for leveling, but it's pretty good. And feels pretty fast from the start as well. Depends a bit on like the drops that you're getting. You can die easy in Cathedral on hardcore, yes. How is bitter medicine? Useless. Absolutely useless. Forget it. Is it worth to craft a Spiritborn mythic? The weapon, you mean? Nah, the weapon is trash too. I don't think that you would want to use that for anything. I mean, you can choose to use the Nesicam. I actually forgot to talk about this in my video, but either way, you can choose to use Nesicam to get guaranteed crit and overpower on one target for a few hits. So you might have too much attack speed and actually run out of hits. Or it might just mark the wrong target. But let's say you always have it on the target that you care about, right? So you get guaranteed crit and overpower and basically nothing else, because this doesn't matter. Since you're overpowering, you have thousands of additives, so who cares? Life is nothing really good on a weapon. It's just actually lower than normal roll. And then this is also kind of whatever. So basically, you have no aspect, no temper, and you don't really get an upside that is better than like a Capileke even. A Capileke is just like a 5 times better item than this, so I'm not sure what they were thinking with this, but it's trash. That's basically what it is. And it's kind of the same for the polearm, I think. So I don't really expect that we're gonna see this on any Spiritborn build, like on any serious build at least. Yeah, Berserking is kind of cool. And that's it for this item. So, like, it doesn't even actually give you any damage. It literally just executes enemies. Like, it doesn't even improve your damage. It only makes some fights a bit faster. That's it. Yeah, so they're both awful. So use this weapon if you could level a second Spiritborn and equip it level 35. Yeah, that's really the only use. It's just like Avarion, I guess. Maybe this is why they made it. So it's like a twink item or something, I don't know. Desert Nice, was it 70% damage as shown in the latest news post, or was it 58 as shown in the earlier patch notes? Can you link the news post? Can you share the rune recipe to craft mythics? I can actually, 1 second. Okay, this is screenshot 953, let me find it. I mean, I think this was already on the PTR though, so this I don't think has changed. The only change that happened here is that you need 2 sparks now instead of 1. So you can't like RMT runes and then recycle your spark eternally until you get the perfect craft. So this was kind of like a concern that, you get 1 spark and you need 1 spark, and so you just like salvage all the time, buy runes from people. So here are the recipes, so I can show them a little bit. How hard is it to get the runes for crafting? Well, I can tell you that Mippy, who would probably play this thing the most and try harder the most, he was begging for runes all the time from other people to try to craft like his Andariels and then his, I don't know what else he did, Shroud, I think. So, yeah, it takes a while to get those 6 runes. It's always like 6 magic, 6 rare, and 6 legendary. So, a specific type. It's basically like rune words from D2, kind of. You have to have those specific runes, and then you craft it. So realistically, what's going to happen is that it's going to be like a whole economy around runes. And for example, Live Rune Fortirius Might is going to be probably the most expensive one, because Live is the one that gives you offering for standing still, which is very good. And it needs 6 for Fortirius Might, and Fortirius Might is probably the most universally used item out of these. And this is probably one of the most universally used runes on top of it. So yeah, Live rune is probably going to be one of the top ones. And then the others, yeah, I mean, some will be more and less expensive basically, but you definitely want to trade your runes. There's a way to like convert them at the vendor, you can see this here. But this is extremely inefficient. So you only do this with like the runes that are worth nothing. 90% of players will hate the rune system. Doubtful. But yeah, it definitely incentivizes trading a bit more than usual. I think people will generally like the rune system. It was pretty fun. Yeah, runes are random drops, and they drop also a lot from bosses. So world bosses usually gives you one. The Citadel bosses usually give you one. You can find them in the pit sometimes. Basically anything that's a boss can drop runes. Maybe here and there is a random drop as well. QS Under City, I think, allows you to target from them. Opals from the season theme allow you to target from them, kind of. So. How did Enchanting and Tempering feel? I mean, that's just as always. But yeah. It has Dance of Knives. Mippy was working on this like all week long, and it looks like it's probably the top rogue build, but it's gonna be kind of clunky. They did like some changes to Victimize to give it like an internal cooldown, and then it stacks up the damage it would have done in the time that it's on cooldown, and then it does a bigger pop, but it feels like a bit clunky because of that, since it can sometimes just like proc, you know, outside on the pack on like one guy or something, and then it's like, you know, not very consistent in like how it deals damage, which sounds kind of weird. And apparently there's like also a bunch of bugs of it that make it kind of feel not good to play. So they definitely have some work to do there. I would expect realistically it's going to be like a mid-season patch fix or so, but we'll see. Yeah, wow, Damons. Thanks for 30 else. Dance at Nights was in this pose. Okay, let's see. When was that post? October 2. Each knife dealing 70% damage. I'm not sure. Maybe knows this, I guess. Either way, they buff the damage of it. So they buff the damage, and yeah, they made Victimize a bit worse. So it's like, you know, it kind of like closes the gap a little bit between like Victimize dance and like a cold dance or poison dance, basically. It seems like Spiritborn is light years ahead of other classes. Not necessarily, but there are some pretty strong builds, like Quill Volley and Touch of Death are very powerful builds. So those are good. But it's not like the other classes really had like a lot of issues breaking into Torment 4 and stuff, I would say. How long did it take to complete a raid? On a third run, we tried to do a bit of a speed run, and that was like 26 minutes, I believe, for all 3 wings. So yeah, you can complete each wing in under 10 minutes if you're kind of fast and just blast everything. But for the first time around, I guess you want to probably go for like a few hours, you know, like two hours, I'd say. It's probably a good time for like the first run, or maybe 3 hours even. Depends on the difficulty, I guess. If you're like pretty strong, let's say you're chilling in Torment 2, then maybe go down to Torment 1, do the raid once, and you're gonna see the mechanics, they're gonna be kind of easy. And then, you know, once you know the mechanics, you can go to the higher torments. The aspect of elemental constellation is not a typo, apparently. You have to full clear wings. You have to do some mechanics to get to the bosses, but you can also skip a lot of stuff. So there's sometimes some door you have to open with, like, you know, getting a certain item from somewhere or something like that. Yeah, I did try 2 minutes as well a little bit with Chronix. We were testing a little bit to see, like, you know, how do you do this on hardcore on Torment 4. You want to try to do like a Torment 4 hardcore clear very early and see how that goes. And there's like one boss in particular, it's the second wing boss. So this was the first wing boss here, and then the second wing end boss. Yeah, Lawzul, he's very hard. Like, he's by far the hardest. It doesn't look like this right now because it's Torment 3 and we're just blasting. But in Torment 4, this guy is tanky and basically one-shots you with like most of his abilities, unless you're like a giga tanky. So I tried to go like, I don't know, I think Shaco, Tyrael, some defensive pants, some defensive amulet, and like he was still melting me with that. So he's kind of crazy. Probably overtuned even, but yeah, on hardcore this guy is pretty nuts on Torment 4. So this is like the hardcore killer here, Lawzul. You have to do like a bunch of stuff here, get some things, he bombards you meanwhile, but then when you fight him, he shoots like a bunch of like ground effects and orbs at you and these kind of things. And especially as a meta character, he's very dangerous. So we're actually considering to just like force someone to play a ranged character just for this boss. He's pretty dangerous on hardcore. Campfire made it seem like you expected to die in a Citadel. Oh yeah, you will absolutely die. Like, people will die. I mean, on softcore it won't matter much, but yeah, on hardcore, you gotta be very careful. And you wanna pay close attention to what is going on. There are some things that will just kind of kill you, even if you're very overpowered. Because, you know, like for example here, this bar that fills up over time. So this is just like an insta-kill mechanic, it's like an enrage. This was not it, this was just me getting blasted by the boss. But yeah, this is Torment 3 for example. And some stuff does a lot of damage here. So... do we have an ultimate button now? Hell no. Enquiries under city, if you activate the thing that gets you guaranteed skill ranks on every amulet, is there a chance that you don't get any amulet at all? Yes. Unless they did some other changes. I mean, the Curious under city was kind of buggy with the rewards. And it didn't really get to test it properly with the target farming and stuff. It looks like it's gonna be pretty good for target farming. But mostly like a high-end feature, like the amulet stuff. It costs like 50 million gold or something, right? So, yeah. It's gonna be something for like Endgame, I guess. Will Razorwing build be competitive? Nah, Razorwing is noticeably the weakest skill on the class, I would say, on Spiritborn. Outside of like Withering Fist. I guess you can probably make a Withering Fist build. You can make a Razorwing build more than you can make a Withering Fist build. But yeah, those are the two builds you're definitely not gonna make for now, I think, for Maxwell at least. And I also don't really have plans to like really do much of them. Like Withering Fist has the problem that the Sepan Sontag pattern of it is very shitty. It's just like a one line and it doesn't have a shotgun or something. The other Sepan Sontag patterns can actually shotgun the same target, like Thrash and Orc Splitter and even Thunder Spike. And Withering Fist cannot do that, so it's kind of like dead. And yeah, then you have Razor Wings, which, I mean, it's like a funny build, but kind of weak. Do you have issues with lagging or rubber banding? I don't know, maybe occasionally the server is doing like some stuff, but I mean, I don't have the greatest latency in general, but I play usually with like 100 ms. How's Druid looking? It's kind of a lookout angle, actually. So it seems like the best two builds for Druid have been killed in the patch notes. And yeah, I mean, Druid is fun, but it's not going to be on the same power level as most of the good builds here on Spiritborn or Rogue or Sorg, I guess. Classic post-clear rip. I did try 2-man raid a little bit with Chronix, yes. 2-man is just like, you have to do more stuff. Like sometimes there's like some path where you have to split up in two, but you have to have 2 people. So if you have only 2 in total, then you have to go one path and then you come back and you do the other path and stuff like that. But overall, it doesn't slow you down too much, I would say. It just makes it a bit harder. But if you're like powerful enough, you can do 2-man just fine. It's gonna be a little bit slower though. 2 sockets on helm is a normal thing now. What about summon Necromancer? Yeah, you log in, you blast to Torment 2, and then you play a real build. Spawn the third best character for Season 6? I don't know exactly. Like, Sorks have this Elemental Constellation stuff that looks pretty cracked. And that should be better than Mighty Throw, but Mighty Throw was pretty good, and it got buffed in the patch notes. So, buffs are gonna be pretty solid. Yeah, so probably number 3, or maybe like around even, at least with like Sorks. How's progression? No more spending 5 minutes in Torment 1? Yeah, it was generally much slower. So getting to Torment 4 did take a while. For example, even here, this raid we did on like Torment 3, for example. The one was like Paragon 200 something and stuff like that. So there's definitely like a much higher like ceiling. And progressing through the Torments felt very more fun. It was pretty good. When will the builds be added to max roll? Starting 48 minutes ago until probably roughly Sunday. That's kind of the schedule. You have a video of Touch of Death build? I can show Touch of Death a little bit. Yeah, so this is like one of the 2 top builds for Spiritborn. So one is the Quill Volley that you see here. And then the other one is... Actually, this was not a Quill Volley. This was actually Andariel, but it looks very similar. It's also Quill Volley, but with Andariels that you see here. But the other one is Touch of Death. Let me find it. So here, that's some Touch of Death stuff. It's also a very fun build. So some Quill Volley. Okay, I'm not sure if this is like exactly the right setup now. It's just like some random clip that I've found here. Yeah, this looks like probably some of my first tests or something, but I was just like kind of cruising for 70, for example. So it's already pretty good, and this was like super scuffed setup. Basically, the way this works is that you just like replace your swarms all the time, and then they burst for a bunch of damage, and they pops for like, you know, a couple dozen million and shit. So this was pretty good. But yeah, I didn't actually play the correct setup here right now in this clip I see. But either way, this is kind of what it looks like. Maybe I can find other clips where I was doing other stuff. There's a 75. But yeah, you have like some some pretty serious single target damage. Kaboom. So yeah. I didn't push too high because my gear was like really shit. So this gear I had here was like basically full non-ancestral and like 0 masterworking kind of deal. So yeah, the vigor bar this is a Kapedeki build, so this means you spend and fill your resource on every attack. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of funny. Yeah, Kapedeki is very good. Can you finish Undercity and the other dungeons with just 2 people? How does it scale? Undercity is not co-op. It's only Dark Citadel that's co-op only. And you need at least 2 people. This looks great. Yeah, this is like one of the top 2 builds, basically. I'm not 100% sure like how far people went, but I think people cleared like over pit 100 with this actually. And I'm not sure about the other classes. So I guess Sorks with Elemental Constellation have a chance for something like that. It's like the new Lightning Spear, just with more effort. Barbs, I'm not sure if they will get to 100, but we'll see. You heard there's a Java Son build of Spiritborn. Java Son, huh? I'm not sure what that could mean. There's nothing to me that... Like, if you're talking about Lightning Fury, I guess. There's nothing here that feels like Lightning Fury. I'm not sure what that could be. TOD cleared 114, okay. Yeah, it goes pretty high. Yeah. Touch of Death is very powerful. Why are perma unstoppable? This is from the Gorilla Spirit Hall. Yeah, Bitter Medicine is useless. Doesn't work if overheal. Does no damage. It's the end. Don't use it. Number seems lower. What's my thought? My thought is you should optimize the setup and then you can clear 114 apparently. So I didn't have the materials to really like masterwork up my stuff and so on since I was trying like 15 different builds, you know, this was just like one of many. But yeah, we kind of got the setup down. You're probably gonna get the maxwell guide for it tomorrow. So I've been writing that already like 2 weeks ago. And it actually turned out very similar to what I was writing up back then, before the early access. So that's good. But I have to fix some stuff and then I can publish the Maxwell guide. Stinger build didn't impress much. Stinger build is like middle of the pack, I would say. It's okay. So if you want to play something that is not like just a lot of Kapileki, you can play with the Swarms and Stinger. It's pretty fun. I really like Stinger. Doesn't have the greatest boss damage, so it doesn't push as high. But for everything else, it's really nice. Can you create an infinite scaling noob with Jag main hall? Kind of, yes. So the Jag hall is one of the 15 hits and scales of itself. So if you attack extremely fast, if you do like, let's say 150 hits per second, you will get 5 Jag hall procs that scale off each other and go higher and higher and higher. So if you stand here on a staggered boss, for example, and you just like keep nuking, and you have like 150 hits per second, it was just like, you know, it can do the less, right? 100 hits per second or whatever also works. But yeah, you need like, you know, a lot of hits, and then it scales higher and higher. It's pretty funny. I might have a clip of that somewhere. Maybe I can find one. But yeah, that's kind of how it works. So for Quill Volley and for Thrash as well, I think Thrash can probably produce the highest number of hits. Like one swing of Thrash can give you like more than 2 Jaguar procs, I think. So if you attack, let's say 5 times per second, yeah, you can get like, you know, 3, 4 overlapping Jaguar procs all the time. How many Spiritborn builds should we expect in max roll? I'll be launching with, I think, 5 leveling and 10 endgame guides on max roll. For the start on Spiritborn. I got cake, guys. Goblin inside Spiritborn will be the second best build. What will be the first? Yeah, that's probably an elemental constellation Sork in that case, I would imagine. Like nothing on Druid for sure, nothing on Barb, and nothing on Rogue. So it must be an elemental constellation. But that's mostly based on a bug, I guess. No Merc. Yeah, I forgot the Merc very often. Like most of these clips, you'll see no Merc. Because like every time I go to the target dummy, I have to remove the Merc, and then I forget to take it again. So I did a lot of testing about Mercs, actually. Let's see if we have some other clips here of Tasso Death. Classic. No Merc, no patch, just alert. I kind of like that. One build that's kind of funny is Thrash, so I can show that a little bit. I'm doing bosses here. I had like a pretty scuffed setup, so I was kind of like struggling my way through Torment 4, but it will be definitely Torment 4 viable once you like optimize it a bit. But it looks very funny, so that's what I mean here with the hits. So every one of these here, this is like the Separate Zontic triple Thrash. So you see this here, this is 3 Thrashes, 1, 2, 3. And if you have Thrash size, it overlaps. And you actually get 15 hits on your main target per swing. And then you have the chance to hit twice. Or is it chance to double damage? I think it's actually chance to double damage. Let me check that. On Separate Zontic. Ah shit, it's chance to double damage. Okay, so no hit twice. But either way, you get a lot of hits. And then get an extra 5 hits from Ravager. So you get 20 hits per swing. So yeah, kinda nice. Did you see Rob's Poison Spiritborn crit build? No, I did not, but I played it. Is Eagle the weakest of the Spiritborn beasts? For the Spirit Hall, by far, yeah. Like Eagle, I never use primary or secondary. Outside of like early game leveling. Early game leveling, Eagle primary is pretty decent. It just gives you like some damage on evade and some vulnerable. It's pretty cool, also with Vital Strikes, for example. I have that in like some of my leveling builds. But yeah, late game, there's no place for Eagle, really. He has an immature save of 30 billion crit. Yeah, I know Rob likes these hyperbolic screenshots and clips and stuff. But realistically, I don't think this is a number you should expect. Yeah, so if you go on the target dummy and you stack up Potent, then you press Hunter, and you have like 10,000 armor, then you can do some funny stuff. But this is not really like a realistic expectation. Smirk meaningful DPS? No. It's mostly just a buff. Like you take like a certain buff from the mercs that you like. That's it. Like they do 0 damage. Like okay, by leveling, like if you're like level 30 or something, yeah, they kind of do something. But the more multipliers they add to your build, the worse they become. They do nothing. It's 83 basically. They do absolutely nothing. How was Rake? Yeah, Rake is probably the weakest out of the core skills on its own, but you can play like a Rake Fawns Gorilla Hall build. And that is actually looking better, I think, than a pure Rake build. Because Rake has the advantage that it, with the aspect it has, it hits twice. So you actually get 2 Gorilla Hall procs for 1 cast, which is very unique to Rake. And that is actually a build, I guess. So I think Lucky is writing pretty much exactly that setup for Maxwell right now. And that's gonna be okay. It's not like the best, but it's pretty solid. Rogue feels like... Spiritborn feels like Rogue that is actually visually present. It feels a lot like Rogue, honestly. Very fast, jumping around all the time. Kinda cool. Has the game improved from Season 5? Oh yeah, it was very fun. Can you start the campaign? Yeah, you can play the new campaign from the 1. You just press skip base campaign, and then you can do the Vessel of Hatred campaign. Do some random math in the middle of the run. Okay. Anyway. God, you wish I could skip the expansion campaign too. Man, do I have good news for you. You only have to play it once. I think Spiritborn is so much better than all the other classes that no one will play the other classes. Spiritborn is generally relatively powerful. Like a lot of the builds that it has are pretty good. But not all of them are like ridiculously OP or something like that. So Touch of Death is looking very strong in Quill Volley. So those are definitely on the top tier level. They will probably go both in S tier, maybe Rock Splitter too. So I think Spiritborn will have the most S tier. But it's not like the other classes are unplayable or something like that. So I guess the weakest one currently is probably Druid. And I would make a Druid. If I had time, I would make a Druid. Realistically, I'll be on Spiritborn a lot, and then maybe some Rogue and stuff. What will happen to base T4 after the expansion? Absolutely nothing, actually. Where are my wings? I didn't bother with transmogs. You do a campaign playthrough. Yeah, you're forced to do a campaign, but I can't show it. Campaign is not allowed. What do the new altars do? Nothing. Just renown. So you want to do the... I wouldn't even go for the altars, honestly. Maybe at some point I will collect them just for completion's sake. And that's it. Fashion foul. The Spiritborn fast as a rogue? I would say Spiritborn can go faster. It depends a bit on the build. And you know what kind of mobility tool you use in your build. But I feel probably kind of comparable. I did not actually open the store once, Crucible, I don't know. When will Maxwell have the Season 6 builds up? Starting tonight, basically. So we're gonna update the planner with the new data. And then people are allowed to publish starting 1 hour ago. And we want to have them out, most of them by tomorrow. I'm going to play DLC on hardcore. Yeah, we want to go for hardcore Dark Souls Ultimate 4 first. So let's see if we can do that. Very fun. Rex said Poison was the best and Gorilla Fawn's the worst. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what Brax actually did to him. I don't think he was playing very much. At least I didn't actually like manage to see him anywhere. It's kind of funny, like on this client, like because it's such a small like server, you just see everyone all the time. Like I saw like Rob running around in town all the time with his private profile, and then we saw like Nippy running around all the time, and I saw Ace of Spades running around, and then I saw Darkseid running around. It was kind of funny. Chronix and Condors and everyone. So I always saw the same people. Like every day I would see them in town a few times. It was cool. And you could tell who was blasting. Yeah, it has a Dark Citadel. It was kind of fun. Okay, what else do we have here? There's more fresh stuff. Yeah, my fresh setup was very weak, but with more optimization, this will be okay. Very fun build, fresh. It looks fun. With the if you turn on the numbers, it looks very funny. Didn't have the numbers on because I couldn't see anything. Was T4 hard? It was okay. Depends on the build. Like, it will take a while to get there if you're not playing like a super S tier build. But even for Quill Volley or something, I think it will take like probably a day or so to get a Torment 4, I'd say. Like a day being like a 24-hour blasting session. Plus minus, I'm not sure, I didn't count it exactly. But yeah, at least my goal for like day 1 of the expansion would be to enter Torment 4 and farm it comfortably. So I guess this is probably what you're looking for. Here's Stinger. So I can do some Stinger. This was like a low level character. I did some testing here. Okay. Yeah, I did some testing for like 2.5 hours, and then I learned, okay, this is how you play Stinger. And then I played Stinger. So, Stinger is really fun. It's one of my favorites. I like that build. It just looks cool with the swirly things all the time. These are the pestilence swarms. Can I repeat my tier list for Season 6? The tier list is not ready yet. So it's gonna be tomorrow. Like we have Maxwell meeting tomorrow to like finalize the tier list and then look at the schedule for the final releases and stuff. We are like starting to release the Season 6 guides now. But yeah, basically Spiritborn has probably 2 to 3 S tier builds. I guess Sorg will have 1 or 2. Barb 0 to 1. Rogue, I guess 2 to 3. Druid probably 0. So that's currently like Necro also has like 1 or 2, I guess. So that's kind of how it's looking right now. Ball lighting, but adding poison. Well, it's like you hit the ground, and then it spawns the swarms. And the hit does some damage, and then also like does damage to other enemies around you that are poisoned, and then you spawn the swarms. Yeah, this build was really fun. I like Stinger a lot. Feels really good. It just has a bit of a single target problem, at least on the high pits, but for anything else it's fine. So that jump, yeah, the hunter jump is nice. I actually played here with Jar Rune for the teleport, so I teleported around as well a little bit. That was kind of funny. How's TB looking? TB is pretty good. Okay, name the top builds I mentioned per class. Okay, so Spiritborn, Quill, Touch of Death, Rock Splitter, Necro, Bone Spirit, and Spirit Wave. Barb, maybe, Mighty Throw. Druid, nothing. Rogue, Victimize, Dance, and Death Trap, I guess. Probably S tier. And maybe Rapid Fire. And what else? Elemental Constellation on Zork, I guess. I think the Lightning Spear nerfs are probably too much to make it still S tier. I wonder where Lightning Spear will land now with all the nerfs, but it got a quadruple nerfed, so that's pretty noticeable, I guess. What percentage of builds are T4 viable? Most, but they will require like different levels of optimization. So you can break into Torment 4 on like most builds, I would say. But yeah, like here, like most of this stuff that you see, I had like, no ancestrals, most of the time not even ancestral weapon, like no masterworking. In some cases I didn't even temper my stuff or imprint my stuff because I didn't have materials. Like it was really rough. And yeah, like very scuffed setups that I played here. And I was able to do Torment 4 just fine on Spiritborn on like quite a lot of builds. Is it worth to do more than one clear per week of the Citadel? Yeah, if you have ults, you can get the weekly reward too. Are materials going to be this rare on release? No, this was actually a bug on this client. And they didn't patch it, so we were just stuck with this for 10 days. And we couldn't get iron chunks and rawhide, man. Like, you could only really get it from salvage. And from clicking nodes, outdoors. So we couldn't like temper anything, we couldn't imprint anything, it was oof. I know Mippy farmed like his entire character to like 12 out of 12 masterworking, and that literally took him like, I know, 100 hours Omega blasting. Because he didn't have iron chunks and stuff. Yeah, Spin to Win is pretty good in Season 6, but it will feel not very good apparently. So I have some work to do there to fix that later, I guess. Sid Rocksplitter is going to be S tier. Yeah, I think so. Like lower S tier probably, but it's very good. He's very sad about Victimize nerf. Yeah, the problem with the Victimize nerf is the cooldown. That just makes it clunky. Like, it's not so much a number thing. It's just the clunkiness of the cooldown. Any Spiritborn build is not as visually busy. Yeah, we have some not so crazy ones. Like Payback, for example, I guess. That's kind of mild, I guess. We just punch stuff. I mean, okay, we use a hunter all the time, so I have this circle thing there, but otherwise, this is what Payback looks like. It's kind of funny though with the arms. So this looks like you have 2 hits, but it's actually 1 hit. It's like slams together and it gets like 1 hit. Are glyphs worth taking to 100? Yeah, it's free real estate. But I think most people will not get there. Like, you need to play a really good build and also optimize it quite a lot and then play relatively well in order to get to glyphs 100. Like, at the very minimum, we have to be able to clear tier 89 and farm tier 89 pretty reliably in order to get your glyphs to 100. But then you have only a 1% chance. If you want to go like from 99 to 100 on a glyph, In Pit 89, it's a 1% chance. So you have to do, you know, on average 25 runs to get this one upgrade from 99 to 100. And so this will take a while. So realistically, only builds that can kind of comfortably get to like tier 95 or so will get the glyphs to 100. Because there you have like, still like some decent chance, like, you know, 15% or 30% per upgrade and these kind of things. And it's not that bad, like the 1%, so it will take forever. Mr. Fated score out of 10. I mean, there's some things I don't like they could have done a better job on the Paragon reworks, for example, and these kind of things. But that aside, gameplay and the whole like content and the gameplay loop and the builds of the Spiritborn and all that is very good. So I would give it a 9. And its early access was pre-campfire, so we didn't have patch 202 here. This is patch 201. And I'm not sure if it was even the full patch 201. So this is not a dot build. This is an overpower build. You see the big overpower numbers? Boom. And there's one thing actually, something to be aware of. Counterattack gives you 100% dodge chance, but it cannot dodge the explosive things here from the elites. And in the expansion, they have also become immune. They can't attack these things anymore. So they cannot dodge them, and they can't kill them anymore. So this was actually like my main source of deaths. Boom. Because sometimes I was running around with like my 30 fire res or some shit because I couldn't fix my res. And I was just like, okay, fuck it, you know, let's go. And then this thing just gets... It was very annoying. Because usually you go around with like 100% dodge chance and you're kind of chilling. But then... Don't stand in the red, yeah. This is very important actually for hardcore. This thing does a lot of damage. And there's also another thing that is probably a bug that may or may not be fixed in the expansion launch, but elites that have lightning enchanted, or at least the super elites, as they're called, these triple affix elites, like this guy here, this is a triple affix elite, this is a so-called super elite. And if they have lightning enchanted, it would spawn like these things, and they would also insta one-shot you. You can dodge them, so I didn't notice it too much. But when I didn't have the perma counter attack tech, it's like boom, you just explode. So I gotta be very careful of that. I wonder if that's gonna be fixed in the launch. I'll try to investigate that. They did talk about that they normalized the damage of elites and stuff like that. And some affixes killed them, but I'm not sure if that was already present in this patch. If it was, then this is certainly a bug and that needs to be addressed. Will there be any builds for Spiritborn on Maxwell before release? Yeah, we're planning 5 leveling and 10 endgame guides. Until Sunday, roughly. Will Blizzard patch again one last time before expansion launch? No, the expansion patch is already what they've shown us yesterday, or 2 days ago. Ferocity attack speed cap 1 or 2. I tested it. It was cap 1, but it told us it will be cap 2 in the launch. So I would just go with the assumption that this is actually going to be cap 2. And this means that a lot of Spiritborn builds will actually become a lot stronger. Because you would just cap out on cap 1 anyway. And especially all of the Jaguar Hall stuff, having more attack speed is really powerful. So if you get like, you know, 14 stacks of ferocity or something, and then you also have like 100% attack speed from your gear, that's pretty good. And then adaptive stances can also give you 30% attack speed, so you can basically get to like full attack speed cap actually on this class. You can get like 200%. Which obas are the best? Boss materials. That's very good. And there's also one for runes that I actually have not tried. I'm not sure if it was in this client. But either way, there's one for runes that I've shown yesterday. That is also pretty good, I guess. Runes were not in the... Yeah, exactly. I was kind of surprised to see this. But yeah, I would have expected runes thing to be pretty good at least. There's a payback. Yeah, this is payback. It's pretty decent. Not like super OP or something, but it was fun. Very fun farming build. Just kind of like jump around from monster to monster and bow, kapow. So. What's the best spirit leveling build? Quill, I'd say. I think Quill is like the overall winner for builds. It just works from level 1 all the way to like pit 100 basically, or something like that. And it just feels good. It's fun. So as like a multi-shot enjoyer, Quill Volley is the thing, kind of. Quill Volley is good. Like most people played Quill Volley, I guess, on this client, on Spiritborn. They enjoy Cuirass. Cuirass honestly is pretty cool. It was just that the rewards were bugged on this client, so there was not much of a reason to do it, but I do like it. I think it's gonna be pretty fun to farm. Can you show gameplay of the build? Yeah, I can do Quill again. So here's like some stuff. I'm not sure what exact setup I was doing here right now. Oh, this was Touch of Death. Wait a minute, where's Quill? Here's Quill. This is Quill Volley. So it's basically multi-shot, but it comes back. So, and you can shotgun. It's pretty good. Are summoning materials harder to farm? Not at all. You get a fuck ton of boss summoning nuts. Yeah, Quill Volley is really cool. It also has a giga single target damage. So the AoE clear is actually not that good. Actually, what I will do for the guide is I'll put the Vortex rune. So you just automatically proc Vortex all the time. Because you have so much single target damage, you don't really care about more boss damage. So you kind of just like walk in, you proc Vortex, everything is stacked on you, and you just pump into the pack and you shotgun everything. This is actually how you would play this, I think. Which I didn't do here right now, like everything's like super spread out and stuff, you see that, right? But you have actually tempers available, you just put like Vortex size, you Vortex everything in, and you're just gonna do like mega speed farm, man. It's gonna be really fun. This build. Yeah, this is the Eagle core skill, Quill Volley. Spiritborn the strongest class? Probably. It's not like massively stronger than some of the other top builds, it seems. With some of the builds. But I guess overall Spiritborn has a lot of good builds. Boom. Again, the Saucy Fire elite here, you see that? What's it called? Explosive, I think. Just you gotta be very careful with that, actually. If you rely on this like 100% dodge uptime and stuff, this thing does so much damage, it's crazy. Just pops you. This is Quill Volley. I have already written the guides for it, but I need to like update them a little bit. So they will probably go live either after stream, I'll try to finish them, or maybe tomorrow at some point I will release the Quill Volley guides. And also I have Touch of Death. And Touch of Death is only endgame build, not a leveling build. But Quill Volley will have leveling and endgame on max roll. Crushing Hand will be leveling and endgame by me. And what is the last one? I have like another... Stinger. I have Stinger as well. So Stinger is also leveling in endgame. Stinger is pretty good for leveling from the start, pretty much. I liked leveling Stinger. Can you talk about a subathon? Yeah, I have not really decided exactly how that's gonna go, how much I want to do. But I might do something like first we do like a race toward first Dark Citadel Torment 4 on hardcore. And I guess then we're gonna follow up with grind to Paragon 300 or something. But the thing is that Paragon 300 will take a long time and it's very boring. But it could be an interesting target for like a subathon, I guess. But yeah, it will take probably like 2 weeks. Maybe more. To get there, even with like 4-man Infernal Horde all day long. And 4-man Infernal Horde all day long also sounds relatively boring. We'll see. Are builds already posted on usual build websites? Yeah, as I said, so on Maxor we are releasing guides today, tomorrow, probably Sunday as well. something like that. So by tomorrow I want to have all of the, or like most of the builds out at least for all the classes. Probably best build for Hordes or Spiritborn. Probably Crushing Hand, actually. Once you have enough damage at least, Crushing Hand is like the best AoE clear, I would say. Here. Here's Crushing Hand. That just feels so fast. Yeah, watch this. There's like a 64 Crushing Hand. And it's just like, you know, bam, 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 bam. It hits like the half the screen. And imagine like a bit more damage. Imagine I had like double the damage and I don't actually have to slow down on the leads. And I mean, you can easily like, you know, quintuple the damage on this character or something, you know. I had shit glyphs, no masterwork, no ancestrals and stuff like that, yeah. And I forgot Fortify too on a overpower build. So yeah, imagine you have like 5 times the damage. And then you just go kapow like this. It's pretty good. Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Just didn't have great boss damage for the higher tiers, but outside of like pushing, Crushing Hand was very fun. Anything for rogues? I didn't do any rogue testing on this client. I mean, rogue has not really fundamentally changed anything. I played like, you know, 7 days of rogue on the PTR. I've written the Death Trap guide and the Aerostone's leveling and endgame guide for max roll. So they are also pretty much ready to go. So I'll probably like, you know, fix them a little bit and then... Yeah, it's mostly Paragon stuff I need to fix there. Otherwise they haven't really changed. But the Paragon balls have changed a little bit. And then the Mercenary stuff I need to do. So yeah, tomorrow I will probably release a bunch of like Season 6 guides of my own. And the one thing I don't like about Crushing Hands is the aspect. It says every 3rd consecutive cast you get like 10 extra hits. And you see this here, like sometimes it's like boom, boom, and then, you know, this like barrage, like boom, 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 you know, right? You see this. And you have to not cast anything else in between. And with high attack speed, you can't really count the attacks that fast and stuff like that. So it's like hope for the best. But it's kind of scuffed. I think they should give it like maybe like a little bit of a, you know, window where you can press other stuff and then go back to Crushing Hand and still get the combo. It's a bit too scuffed, I think. Like, yeah, they want you to just like stand there and like spam, you know, bam, 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 but realistically you have to press the other buttons, so. Thanks, PK. Appreciate this up. Any fun old-based builds for any class? Yeah, Death Trap Rogue, Rain of Arrows Rogue, and Soul Rift Recro is a thing. I guess to some degree, Blood Wave, Bone Spirit, but the damage is a Bone Spirit there, not the Blood Wave. I was Crushing Hand for leveling. Yeah, as long as you stay on easy difficulty and avoid bosses as much as you can, you're gonna be fine. Like, Crushing Hand is something you just wanna go fast with it, you know, use the AoE it has, you know, just pump like AoE in like, I don't know, Nightmare Dungeons or in Helltide or something, and that's it. And it will work. Let's hope when your big centipede will become a big build. Yeah, me too. It's my favorite ability of the entire class. But they actually nerfed that, so I'm not sure why. But back at Gamescom, you could actually recast the worm and get the big beam that it does at the start. Like, the old worm would disappear, and the new one would come out, and it would do the beam again. But now you can't even cast it again, so for some reason they didn't allow you to cast it again. Which is kind of weird. When we see deadly stitching dolls or get ambushed by fetishes. Yeah, a fetish ambush is actually a thing, yes. If you stand around somewhere in like Nahantu, there's like 50 fetishes that spawn on you and like start picking you with knives. It's kind of funny. Whoa, all that exquisite blood. Yeah, you get so many boss mods. It's crazy. Like, I had so much stuff. all the time. And I didn't farm for any of it. It just like drops. They don't use Mercenary. Yeah, I forgot very often to use Mercenary. So. The new stash tab for materials and keys. Like here in the inventory, there's like 4 inventories now. There's this inventory, equipment, socketables, so there's runes and gems, and then the consumables, and then the keys. Mercenary is like season 3 pet. Yeah, kind of. Login mark. Yeah, this is a video. I'm eating cake, guys. Composites are not stackable. Kind of weird, actually. Because, they don't even have any affix list anymore. They literally just say wave cap. It's like wave cap 6, 8, or 10, I believe, and that's it. So I'm not sure why they don't stack. They're always the same. So like, they could actually stack, but for some reason they don't. Is plain power aspect still good? It is still okay, but I think only Thorns builds will really go for it. Builds for Spiritborn will be on max roll. Probably sometime tonight or tomorrow we're gonna start releasing. I should make instance buff stack in the buff bar, even if we have similar buff bar stacking. Yeah, look at the buff bar, man. It doesn't even show all the buffs. They added like a second row, but there's no third row. There's like invisible buffs anyway now. Kind of stupid. I think they should like make some kind of like, long-term buffs that has like, like this, like a pop out or something that you can mouse over. That would be nice. Like elixirs, incense, any kind of like, longer than like, let's say a minute or something, or longer than 5 minutes or something like that. It should just be there. And then you have like all the temporary stuff that you can actually see on your bar, and that would be good. Oh, Frost Fire, Zerg, thanks for the 10ers. What's the ST build for Spiritborn? Quill Volley, Touch of Death, and then somewhere followed by Rock Splitter. Razor Wings is one of the weakest on the class. Maxwell Guide's coming later tonight. Yeah. I think I could do something like that with OBS. No mythics needed for Spiritborn. Yeah, a lot of Spiritborn builds will not run any mythics actually. Jaguar Shell is most of the time better than Tyraels or Shroud, I would say. Harmony is usually better than Shaco or Perdition Helm. It depends a little bit on the build. There will be some builds that run Starless, there will be some builds that run Perdition or Shaco. Especially like the armor stacking builds probably like Shaco a lot. And that's about it almost. Yeah, Tyraels, if you want to be tanky, sure. But I really like the cooldown from Jakimp. So there's like the Giga tank route where you go like Shaco Tyrael and stack armor, for example, with unyielding hits. Or there's like the blaster route where you go like Harmony, Jakimp, Shell, no mythics, no unyielding. So this is kind of like how I did a lot of setups. So I think especially like higher end pit push stuff, where you just want to like tank all the boss mechanics and then have like big bursts. I'd probably go for like, armor stacking, unyielding hits and stuff on some builds. Like I've been working on that for like Touch of Death, for example, lately. Yeah, resistance is good on Tyrael. It will make it tanky, but you can also just run around with 100% dodge chance permanently, which is kind of good, I think. Top tier Spiritborn compared to other classes, not including specific builds. Well, we're planning to put out, I think, 10 endgame guides on max roll, and they are distributed in S, A, and B. Material being required for big endgame content? No. I did not use tutorials. I had tutorials actually, and I even had like 15% maximum always on it, and I did not use it. I used it like, I don't know, for like 15 minutes or so, and then I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go back to a Jack and Shell. So, there we go, that was it. So. What is the meta? The meta is you buy the expansion and play a new class. Did you notice the chance of building gear drops from tier 1 to tier 4? To be honest, I was not paying much attention to it, because my strategy was to just like ignore Ancestrals exist. Because Ancestrals are very costly to imprint and reroll and everything. Like everything is much more costly on Ancestrals. And we had this problem that there was a bug with Iron Chunks and Rawhide in its client that is now fixed. But it was a bug and we couldn't do it. Like you had to farm so much, and I just ignored ancestral items. I did everything with non-ancestrals. So that was it. So yeah, I didn't really look at the gear drops, and like when you go higher pits, you definitely notice that there's like more ancestrals dropping. And you know, if you do like, let's say pit 80s or something, I think you get like a pretty reliable like one ancestral drop or so. So it's pretty good eventually to farm ancestrals. But I actually didn't really pay much attention to it. The situation called for woody gear. Yes, exactly, man. This was like in traditional woody gear fashion. We did some testing here, man. I mean, it was good enough to understand how the builds work and, you know, what is going to be the high-end setups and stuff. And the rest you can do with the planner and theory crafting and crunching the numbers. It was mostly just like to figure out, okay, what is the combos, what do we rely on, and so on. So I did a lot of Capileke plus Spanish Lost Talisman. That was really good for like the typical like direct damage builds. In fact, you saw Stinger earlier, right? With the Pestilence Swarms and stuff. I actually played that build as well with the same like overpower setup. That I can find that. Yeah, I was actually like pumping like, you know, 75s pretty easily. So just like Stinger overpower, no Pestilence Swarms. Which wasn't really the greatest, and it kind of gives up a bunch of synergies that you would otherwise have. But it did work. Wasn't bad. And it might actually beat the Pestilence Swarm Stinger. But I'm gonna make the Stinger guide Pestilence Swarms anyway. Because we already have like 3 other core skills that could play like this. And at least the Pestilence Swarms is like, you know, something else. And it's probably pretty close in power anyway, or maybe even better. Like, it's hard to say. I think my setup here was better than on the Pestilence Swarm setup, for example. So it was also just a bit more powerful. But yeah, you can actually do that. It's just a no Pestilence Swarm Stinger build and just like pump them with crits. Kind of funny. Boom, and there comes the fucking explosive again. That caught me so many times, man. The explosive. Because I usually had like not capped resistances. Most of the time I had like really scuffed setup. And I was running around with like 40 fire res, and then it's just like, bam. Will Endari Rogue be good next season? I mean, they did nerf Victimize. So that should probably close the gap between Victimize and Andariel. On the PTR, when I played Rogue, Andariel was definitely a bit behind Victimize builds. But now the Victimize is nerfed. It might be close again. So yeah, I would say it's gonna be one of the higher builds on Rogue. Can't see anything. Yeah, it's just like pumping on the ground, like... Basically, Stinger is just like you hit the ground with this build, and that's it. You just smack the ground. Get a green explosion. The red things are clips waiting to happen. Yeah, you gotta be careful, man. I'm definitely gonna turn off numbers on every build, so I can see them. Was a Touch of Death build using Insatiable Acid for its damage, or was it coming from Noxious Resonance? Yeah, so here's an interesting thing about Touch of Death. So basically the way this worked is... wait, let me find the clip. I guess Touch of Death testing, so... Okay, so... There's actually a funny thing here. So you can like Touch of Death, and then the tempo for Touch of Death says chance for Touch of Death swarms to reinfect on hit. Which is kind of funny, because they actually do like a full Touch of Death, and they kind of like go infinite. And the same also happens with Rod of Capileki, and they kind of just go infinite. They just kind of keep spawning new swarms, even though they only last a few seconds. So you can actually go out of the dummy and then go into the room again, and you can still see them. Watch out. Pretty hilarious. But yeah, the build actually used Noxious Resonance, but not really for its primary purpose as doing explosion damage, which, I mean, it does do that, but the main damage is still the insatiable aspect. So the reason to use Noxious Resonance mostly is to pop the swarms faster, because if you don't do a Noxious Resonance, then there is like a bit of a delay until you get the swarms to pop. And you just actually deal more damage taking Noxious Resonance and not having, let's say, adaptive stances, and just popping the swarms instantly every time, because you will get a crit, and this will, you know, remove the poison, and that removes the swarm and pops the swarm, basically. And you get instantly the explosion for Insatiable. So it's kind of a mix of Noxious Resonance and Insatiable, but mostly Insatiable. How are the rune words? Yeah, they balance them out a lot more. There were some changes of rune words already, but I think most of it is in 2.02, so we didn't have like all of the changes. There's gonna be some pretty busted rune words here. Like Pock rune, for example, with the resource spending, with the Capileki builds, for example, it's gonna be pretty wild on this class, for example. Yo, Alexander, hello. I'll start posting video, like build videos as well tomorrow. So today I did like a lot of the generic stuff, like, you know, like how the Citadel works and how the Cuirass Undercity works, and the Spiritborn, like, must-know tips. That's just pinned here. It's like a 1.5 hour video. Good luck. And I explain like all the mechanics and how everything works and so on. But yeah, like build videos I'll start tomorrow probably, once I finish my planners. I didn't like do any work on the planners while I was playing. I was just like, you know, whenever I never had time, I used as much time as possible to like test mechanics and test builds. I didn't actually finish my planners yet, so I need to fix that. But anyway, the Touch of Death stuff is pretty good. So here on the target dummy, I was kind of like testing, okay, like, you know, what happens when I have Noxious Resonance versus when I don't have it. So you can see, like, for example, here I swapped the hall. And then I tried, like, you know, some other stuff with, like, you know, the Jaguar Hall, for example. You can get a lot of, like, Jaguar procs in this build as well, because the individual hits, I think they all count for Jaguar. So you can see this here. You see this red, kind of like the cross shape? This is the Jaguar proc. You can actually see it. It's a visual. Here, this one. This is the Jaguar Spirit Hall proc. So you can actually see how often it triggers when you look at it. So these Touch of Death songs actually do this quite often. You have a lot of hits on that. And then you can also do like some really big chunks here, basically, of that. 90-minute video on how Spiritborn works, yep. Yeah, I was like basically staying in a training dummy room for like, I don't know, if you count it together, probably like 20 hours out of the, like, I don't know, almost 100 hours I think I played. And then also like a lot of like just random testing in other places and stuff. I was just like constantly build testing and swapping stuff and trying ideas, testing mechanics. So I just wanted to get like as much out of this as possible. Does the glyph level remain when you die in hardcore? How should that work? On the vessel lore quest 1, what approximately do we finish it? What level do we finish it? You mean the campaign? Campaign is pretty long. I liked it though. It's a fun campaign, but it's not like the fastest rate level, I think. But it does kind of leave you at max level, or close to it at least. So at least that, yeah. So you do your first character, you do the campaign, and then you kind of just like learn with leveling. Which builds have I tested in a private server? Let me check. So these are all the planners I made pre-early access, but yes, 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 no, yes, yes. Okay, so all of these but the Seeker. I think this is just dead. Bitter Medicine is not a thing. Thunder Spike is just a worse version of Thrash, if you want to play a basic attack build, but it is playable. Soar works very differently than we expected. So the way to play Soar is you don't actually use these Soar boots, you just use Soar on your bar, and then there's an aspect where you can reset your mobility skill cooldowns with Storm Feathers, and spawn Storm Feathers and pull them in, and it's actually like a Storm Feather build. You Soar, it spawns Feathers and pulls them in. Actually not a terrible build, funny enough. It's a very gimmicky build, but not terrible actually. I think we're probably gonna make it somewhere in B tier or so. So Soar is a thing, but not the way you thought. Touch of Death, very powerful, probably the best. And then Quill Volley, also extremely strong, probably the second best or the best. Like I can't decide which one of them is the stronger one, Quill Volley or Touch of Death. I'd say overall Quill Volley is my recommendation for everyone. It's like a powerful build, it's a fun build, it just works from level 1. And this is also what I'm going to be starting for racing and all that. Quill Volley is really good. And then maybe late game go Touch of Death once I have like the full setup. It probably pushes a bit higher. But yeah, both are extremely high end. Later. Yeah, I'll do Quill Volley. It's this one here. So this is my starter. Loyalty Centipede, that's the logout angle. Quill Volley video tomorrow? Probably. Yeah, I have to do some cooking on the planners and stuff. So this will take a little bit. Like there's like stuff I have to fix on the planners. I didn't touch them for like 2 weeks. How about Crushing Hand and Rock Splitter? Rock Splitter, Thorns, very good. That's kind of the way to play Rock Splitter. I guess technically you could make like a Rock Splitter crit build or something, but you just play Thorns with it. It's actually very good for that. And yeah, Crushing Hand is okay. Very good speed farming build. Kind of similar with Payback. Both don't have incredible boss damage, but they're very good for farming. Cooking centipedes. Let me like fast forward a little bit here. Okay. Wonder if the gold farmers got early access to bright boss mods on day 1. No, I didn't see any gold farmers. The only people I saw running around all the time was like Mippy, Rob, Chronix, Condis. I saw Darkseid. I saw like Ace of Spades. That was about it actually. Like here and there were some other people running around, but those names I saw like every day somewhere in like the town or something. So those were all the blasters, kind of. Yeah, okay, Darkseid maybe not too much because he's always like in different time than me. He's like all night in the night for me. What's the best boss damage on Spirit Boy? Yeah, Quill Volley and Touch of Death. I guess Touch of Death might actually scale the highest on single target, but realistically it doesn't matter. Like even on my scuffed builds, like I was able to do like Torment 4, like Jaguar in like I don't know 20 seconds or something, and 10 seconds. And if you like quadruple the damage from there or something, like you're just gonna like insta kill Tormented bosses on Torment 4. Even a party, you can get to the point where it's just like bloop, they're dead. So these builds are pumping, and they will push like 100 plus easy at some point. So Too bad we never seen recognized devs in towns. Yeah, it would be cool. Maybe there were some devs running around. I'm not sure, but they're probably playing on their private test servers and stuff to try stuff. Yo, Dia, thanks for the prime, by the way. Does Touch of Death come back quickly in that build? You make it no cooldown with the Rod of Kapeleke. Or, well, actually not with the Rod of Kapeleke, but with, there's an upgrade for it that makes it no cooldown, but it costs Vigor instead. So this is how Touch of Death works. You play that. I did try a cooldown-based Touch of Death build. I was thinking maybe, like, there's like this other upgrade. This one here. Where it says that the Touch of Death's swarms, they explode for poisoning damage all the time. And I thought this would also kind of count into the insatiable aspect or something like that, which is kind of like the main damage in this Touch of Death build. But I tried it a bit and it didn't seem to do anything for it. So it's just like a burst of poisoning, and this doesn't count at all for like insatiable, I believe. So I tried to do like a cooldown based build and thought this would scale way higher or something, but it doesn't. So this just seems kind of not really doing much. I guess it's like a way to like passively poison stuff around you. So this could be like good for example, something like a Thorns build. For Thorns builds, you need to have toxic skin and then poison stuff. So this could be like a way to do that, for example. But it doesn't seem like it helps the Touch of Death build itself. You just go this upgrade, it has no cooldown, you spam it, that's it. Did any build seem more fun than the others, aside from being powerful? Yeah, the most fun I had with Quill Volley, Payback, and Crushing Hand, I would say. And Stinger is also really fun though, to be fair. It's tough, man. Tough to decide. I felt like Rock Splitter, even though it's a kind of good, it felt a little bit too simplistic. But I mean, it's nice, especially like AoE wise. It feels good, you know. It's like punch into the pack and kapow. So that's cool. I'm going to be remaining Rouge. No, we're remaining Spiritborn. When will the Maxwell planner be updated? It should be 1 hour and 49 minutes ago, but I guess it's not ready. Necroman. Links on Discord live. On that opening Quill Volley, nothing is loading up. You have to press on PTR here on the top to see the Spiritborn planners, but they are mildly outdated, at least some of them. I will have to fix. I'm in the process of doing that, but I didn't have any time. Like I was playing this as much as possible, and I did not actually like do any of the planner stuff. And I also didn't want to leak anything, you know, embargo and so on. So it would be kind of weird if I'm like playing and then slowly my planners are changing one by one. It's like, So I wanted to avoid that. And I will have to update them now, basically. What are rewards for the Hunter Renown? The same as in the other regions. You get 2 skills, 1 potion, and 4 Paragon. Bro, get out of here, tier 4 Grig in 20 seconds. Yeah, you can do this in 2 seconds as well, in full man if you want. It's just like my build was Omega scuffed. So when you have better gear, you're gonna kill Jaguar instantly. Like you kill any boss instantly, basically, besides Andariel, because she has forced invulnerable phases. But yeah. I think there's some Touch of Death stuff here in this clip. No? Let me see. I started doing some weird testing here, so this is not very representative of the actual power of the build. But here we can... No, this is Stinger. Okay, I need to find another one. This is the one. So here I was doing Touch of Death stuff a little bit. It's just 75, but I mean 75 is already like relatively good for my gear level. So even without really good gear, this build starts popping off. All you have to do is like get the Kapeleke combo properly online, and then it kind of pops. You could also play this without Kapeleke, I guess. Spiritborn is not mythic heavy? Not at all. Like most builds, like I did have a Shaco, I did have a Perdition, I did have a Tyrells, but I barely used them like on any builds. So you can definitely make setups around mythics, especially like armor stacking builds, really like Shaco for example, because it has like, I don't know, 500 flat armor or something. That's kind of big for unyielding hits. But yeah. Did I like difficulty changes compared to PTR? Yes. Okay, so what do you know about leveling is? Like, you level on hard, period. So, do not go to expert, unless somehow I get like some omega lucky drops or something. You definitely don't go to penitent unless you're twinking. And it's not even unlikely you're gonna do normal at some points. Especially for like the campaign stuff, and for the stronghold, you know, completions and stuff. It doesn't scale with difficulty. So you actually want to do this on normal. But yeah, the torment progression was much more fun. It was pretty cool to like progress through the torments and try stuff. Yeah, hard is not trivial, but it's a 75% extra bonus. So you want to try to get to hard at least. I mean, if you struggle too much, then don't do it. You don't want to get to the point where you just like, you know, fight every elite for like 20 seconds or some shit. So if that's the case, you go to normal. But you want to try to get to hard as soon as possible at least, because this is like the biggest jump in the rewards as well. You go from 0% bonus to 75% bonus, so it's pretty good. You want to get to hard if you can. But yeah, if it slows you down too much and like elite fights take too long, for example, then you don't do it. Is Dance of Knives work looking like a choice for high-level speed farming? Yeah, Dance of Knives is looking like one of the better builds. I'd have to see some clips from Mippy though. Like Mippy has been testing Dance of Knives a lot on this, and he actually like min-maxed it quite a lot. So I need to see like what he was actually able to complete. Campaign-wise, normal. Yeah, for campaign, I would just go normal difficulty and kind of blast through it. Was this the version of updated difficulty from patch 202? I'm not sure what I have done in 202 versus 201. We played patch 201, so we didn't have all of the final changes and all that stuff. And I'm not sure what else changed in 202, so it might be even harder than this. The burger meter. It's kind of funny even with the channeling, right? New character good with Uber bosses? Yes. Can you tell how long the campaign is? I think even a speedrun will be several hours, maybe. It's pretty long. This class looks sick. Yeah, it is pretty good. Pit difficulty stayed the same. No, they made monsters much tankier, and they also nerfed players a lot with like, you know, glyphs are weaker and so on. Where's the original campaign RP clear? I'll try. Not today, I guess, but I don't know, maybe I'll do it on Sunday or Monday, but like the final stream before the expansion. How's the scaling in Dark Citadel? Is it harder with less people? Yes. So the HP scales like anywhere else in dungeons where like per player it's plus 100% monster HP. But you have to do more stuff with less people basically. So it's just nice to have more people because you can spread out more and, you know, some stuff is a bit easier or faster. Before you said 2 weeks for Paragon 300? Yeah, it's just an estimate. It's not a very precise estimate, to be fair. It might be faster, it might be slower. But even on this client, many people did not reach 300. And those people that did, or basically anyone, abused a bug. There was a pretty serious XP bug that is now fixed. But one of the seasonal rewards gave you ridiculous amounts of XP that made it way faster, like literally like 10 times faster or something. So, and even with that, most people did not reach Paragon 300. So, It's a crawl. I mean, look at this. We can look at this run, right? This is a 75 pit, right? Yeah, Paragon 286, yeah? Look at my XP bar. Let's save this. Let's do a screenshot. Okay, I have a screenshot here. And let's look at the end of the run. So this is the start. And this is the end. You see that? This is what I got. On pit 75, by the way. I got this. On 268. Yeah. So, good luck. This is without the XP bug. I think. Yeah, I don't see anything on the buff bar, so... It's gonna be a grind, guys. Can you skip Rest of Hate campaign? No. Is the XP race just a 60 or 300 Paragon? Yeah, realistically, there will be no XP race, I guess, because 60 is too trivial, I think, for it to be really a race. It's like, okay, you play the campaign, you're done. I mean, okay, great. And Paragon 300 is just something that no one will do or want to watch, I guess, right? So something like Paragon 200 could be interesting. But on the other hand, they did make Paragon a lot more attractive past 200. So previously it was like, okay, get to 200 and you're kind of done and don't care. But now it's like, okay, glyphs are nerfed, Paragon is buffed. The points actually kind of still matter all the way to 300 almost. So it's kind of good to get 300 now, but most people will not get there. It will be like a super long grind. You just like farm in Infernal Hordes all day long, right? And that's it. So, yeah. Hello, Buck. Think Spiritborn is better specializing in one of the different spirits or mixing abilities? Almost always you mix stuff. There are some exceptions where you kind of go all in. But most of the time it's mixing. I did play the Infernal Hordes, yeah. Infernal Hordes is probably still the best XP farm. But you can't go infinite Infernal Hordes all day long anymore. Unless you like cycle people and carry them or something. You can just say, okay, you know, bring 10 compasses. And I carry you on Torment 4 or something like that. I guess you can do that if you're strong enough. But yeah, Infernal Hordes will probably... You can probably try to find some Infernal Horde footage and see what happens. I think I had that in like the... Crushing Hand footage. Let me check. You can also look at the... Here's an Undercity run. It's Torment 3 though. But you can check what that gave us. If you can even see that. So here, Paragon 267. So let's see if it actually moves. Okay. You can do the same thing again. Okay, let's do a screenshot. And let's do the end of the Cuirass run. Does the boss actually give anything? Boss actually doesn't give an XP. So I can compare that. Yeah, look at that. This is a Cuirass of Undercity run, which is probably something like, let's say, 2 minutes or so. This is like 2 minutes. It's not too long, but I mean, look at this. If this is 2, then we have, you know, there's like maybe 5 minutes. There's like maybe 10. There's like maybe 20. There's like maybe half an hour. or something like looking at just curious runs, right? Chaining them. If you do like 2-minute runs, this will be like roughly half an hour. This will be like 1 hour. This will be like 2 hours. You know, so kind of like that. It's quite long. So yeah. We can check this on Infernal Hordes. I guess Infernal Hordes should be kind of decent at least for XP. This is probably still the best way. Here's Infernal Horde. Let's see. I mean, this was Torment 3 I did there. And not like the best setup and stuff, so you can definitely do it faster. But yeah, I think for this level up, you could probably still expect something like an hour. Plus. Okay, how many Ether did I get here on this run? Very little. Okay, 150. Again, this was like a really crappy run on Torment 4, so I didn't really clear very fast. But it could be worth checking out, like how much we get here before and after. I might have better Infernal Horde footage, so this is obviously a very slow run. If it, like, imagine they get like, 800 Ether or so, I definitely didn't kill enough. But let's see. So we do this. I wonder if the boss actually gives any XP. Doesn't look like it. So we'll actually just skip the boss. So here's before and after. You see here, this actually looks better, but it's also longer than like an city run, for example. So this was not aligned. Okay, this looks fine. So this was like a Horde run on Torment 4. Relatively scuffed build. So, looks better. Oh no, wait a minute. 264, 267. Okay, this was the XP bug. I actually got 3 level ups. Didn't check that. This was also the XP bug that I used it here. So you see how good it is? Yeah, this is not what we're looking for. And you see, like, I get level ups like really fast here. This is like, look at my XP bar right now. But this is because of the bug. So it was way faster with the bug. So that's what I can tell you. So one shitty horde was like 3 levels. So a good horde could probably be like 5. Do I have other Infernal Horde? This might be kind of early here. But let's see. Here's Infernal Horde with Quill Volley. And this is Torment 2. And I'm Paragon 200. And I'm also using the bug here. Okay, so you see how fast my XP is growing. So I actually don't have like a clean Infernal Horde clear. So I don't think, maybe I can find one somewhere in my other footage, but I don't know where. So I can't really tell now. But Infernal Horde should still be the best for XP. So it should beat like Undercity. But if you look at, like, for example, Pit, you know, you saw the Pit 75 run. That was like 2 minutes. 3 minutes for like tiny XP progression. So you can actually expect at least an hour per level or so, and like 250 plus, I think. Unless you're doing like a dedicated XP farm in Infernal Hordes. Then you can do it faster, I guess. Let's close this stuff again. Oh my god. Okay. Wait, massacre bonuses? Yeah, this is one of the mercenaries. Save up all the Infernal Hordes for tier 4 XP farm. Yeah, start making mules for Infernal Hordes. I guess so. Just have like 200 keys ready on like 7 mules. And then chain them back to back. I mean, you need... If you do like 10 waves, I guess you need like 4 keys an hour or something like that. Or 5, if you kill the boss very fast. So if you save like 200 compasses, yeah, okay. I mean, that's like 40 hours of Infernal Hordes non-stop. It might actually be a better strat. How bad is Druid? They nerfed the top 1 and the top 2 build of Druid. But they did Omega buff Companions. So Landslide and Companions looks like it's gonna be a thing. And then Shred also is like Omega buffed. Pure Landslide is still a thing though. Pure Landslide is still really good, I think. How did I get the EA build planner? That's a trade secret. Is there one S tier Merc? I mean, the one you don't want to run is Altkin, I guess. But all the others are usable, I'd say. You're asking for Rax, he can't get it. Okay, I can try to help him. Yeah, 1 second. Rax needs to check his DM. Okay. Okay. So Rax is taken care of, hopefully. I mean, we are updating the planner probably tonight anyway, but I guess for now, if you want, if he wants to use it, then you can. So there we go. Did it fix the Fortress XP? Yes. It was just like a bug where I can like turn in the strongholds all the time, so this is not a thing anymore. You're thinking about Jaguar main, Centipede second, scaling the heals. Temerity is not a bad option if you want to be very tanky on Spiritborn. They fixed Temerity, it seems, and it now seems to probably work with like your actual healing. Temerity was usually very bad because it was bugged, but it seems like it's actually working finally after like round 3 of bug fixing. But I think most late game builds will probably not go for that. It is an alternative like Paragon choice though. Because there's a Paragon board where you get like damage per barrier, and Temerity allows you to scale that very easily. So this can be an option on some builds. This class looks so cool. Oh yeah. Let's see if I have any other build. Is there like some builds I did not show yet? I think I kind of went for everything. Here's Razor Wings Omega Scuffed. That's the title of my video. Razor Wings Omega Scuffed. Okay. So let's see Razor Wings, guys. Wait, here's some Stinger stuff. Where is it? Here's Razor Wings. Okay. Let's go. Oh no, we started from Waller. Beautiful. Yeah, Razor Wings, it didn't really feel great, I gotta say. Like, I was trying out with, like, the, it looks funny with, like, the things that's bouncing all the time. And then they bounce out again, and, they fly out again, they come back, and they fly out again. But I think there's, like, some global limit on how many can be active at a time. There's, like, I don't know, 10 or something you can have. And that's it. So it's not that crazy. Was it fully released already? No, this was not fully released. This was the press release. So for, like, all the magazines and websites and stuff to do the reviews, basically. Why is there goblin spawn in the end? There's a scroll now that can spawn goblins. You can, like, just pop it randomly in a dungeon or in a pit or something. It's kind of funny. Actually, now that I think about it, oh no. Oh no. I wonder if they're tradable. But technically, there are some builds that really want to have extra targets to do more damage, right? Like Lightning Spear or something like that. Andario's Rogue and these kind of things. I wonder if it's worth it to press on a scroll in the pit on the boss to do a push. Oh no. That could be a strategy. Will hardcore Citadel be possible? It will be possible, yeah. We're actually going for world first Tournament 4 Citadel on hardcore. Let's see how that goes. Gonna do some prep. Score of Generosity on hardcore to revive friends. Yeah, of course. If you don't have friends, tough luck, I guess. Why 6 waves and not 10? There's 6, 8, and 10 randomly. So it just comes with a random number of waves. Citadel is not soloable. There's a lot of mechanics, so I need at least 2 people. I think there may be certain bosses that he could solo, but he might not be able to get to them solo. I'm not 100% sure what actually happens when you try some of these bosses solo. It would be kind of a fun challenge to try to solo every boss. But I'm not sure if every boss can be done solo. Maybe though. I'm thinking right now. So, first boss, yes. Second boss, maybe not. I think second boss cannot be done solo, but I'm not sure. Third boss, probably also no, actually. Fourth boss probably can be done solo. Fifth boss, probably yes. Maybe it's actually possible to solo the bosses, but I'm not sure. It might be like either you just can't do the mechanics, or like maybe it resets when there's no one present or something like that. Or, you can't like do a teleporter that you need to do or something. But I think a bunch of bosses can be soloed, technically, if you get there at least. So you need someone to get you there and then leave. It would be fun to see like if you can actually solo the bosses at some point. Who's playing? I'm playing. Well, I was playing. This is me playing like yesterday. I hate how they're forcing people to play the new class, making it 10 times stronger than other classes. Yeah, I mean, if you ignore that like rogues and barbs and druids exist, and necros, I guess, and that's kind of true. Are there any skills on Spiritborn that feel auto-included on every build, like Ice Shield on Zork? To be fair, my skill bar looked very similar on most Spiritborn builds. I very often had Ravager. Ravager probably felt the most auto-include, just because it felt good, like jumping to the enemy when you use a core skill all the time, and sometimes you also really wanted the extra resources that it gives, or in some cases the extra hits. So Ravager is just a really nice skill. I guess probably the most mandatory is the Hunter. The Hunter is just so good, and the other ults just kind of suck. There are builds that can get away without the Hunter, but it just kind of like felt really good. It also like teleports you basically and all this stuff, so it was pretty good. Especially for Jakimf builds, so you see here my life is getting drained all the time. I use counterattack. Counterattack just gives you like perma 100 dodge. Scourge is kind of nice, but optional, I'd say. But it helps a lot with the Jakimf drain. And in general for healing, it also gives you like a damage buff, it can give you resources, so it's kind of nice. So, Scourge. Armored Hide is also something I had in a lot of builds, but it can get around it with other options. There's other builds that can just go Rock Splitter to get Resolve, or use an Aspect to get Resolve, so there's multiple ways of getting it. What does Snippy do? Is it just like a Necro? What? What does chance extra hit mean? It seems similar to chance to hit twice. Yeah, I think that's the same. Is Anti-Rogue fine in Season 6? Yeah, Anti-Rogue will be fine. To record all 100 hours of play, how big is my HDD? I mean, I'm recording with like, I think 8K bitrate or something, or 6K bitrate. And yeah, it was like, I don't know, 500 gigabytes or something that I have here from this. I also deleted a few things already, like I sorted it out earlier today to make sure I'm kind of prepared for the day. I have like an entire folder here of stuff. Basically, that, you know, I named the clips after what I was doing there, and I deleted a lot of stuff that was like duplicates and so on, so to clean it up a bit. They say something about Armory to save builds and switch back and forth. Yes, they did say that they're working on it actually. Like they did it like actually like a month ago. And I would actually expect it to be maybe ready in Season 7 or something. So maybe next season that's gonna be like the big new feature, Armory. Did you nerf Razorwing a lot? Yeah, I can see it right now. Razorwing was definitely one of the weakest things, yeah. This is like a Pit 49. And okay, I think in this build I actually had like 2 missing imprints. I just had like 2 aspects that did nothing, because I just didn't want to invest anything on this build. I just wanted to do a quick test to see how it feels to play. But it's also like, you see like some of these are like flying out to the right and not to the left, to the boss. And you know, it's kind of like weird and clunky and stuff in some cases. So maybe you can try to like be a bit more mobile. Maybe you want to combine like Rushing Claw with the Razor Wings, and kind of it's like a Rushing Claw through the guy while the Razor Wings follow you. I didn't actually try that. This might be something that could help this build, where if you can hit the same target again with a Razor Wing that has already hit the target, maybe you can just like Rushing Claw through them and just like, you know, go back and forth or something. I didn't actually try that. Maybe this is actually how you should play it. Maybe that would make it a lot better. If that works, that could be quite an upgrade. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell from this clip, and it's something I didn't think about testing when I did this. Either way, Razor Wings, it does look relatively low damage. But yeah, maybe there's like some shenanigans that I didn't really explore properly here. I didn't really spend much time on it, because I didn't expect much of it. I just did like a quick test to see kind of like how it feels. And yeah, you see like, you know, some of them are flying off into nowhere. And there's like this kind of limit. I think there's like a limit of like, I don't know, 10 maybe or so that can be active. So even when you constantly reflect them out again, you see they come back and they go fly out again and stuff. Then, yeah, at some point, you just don't get more. Yo, Nick, thanks so much, Prime Man. Does Payback double dip to consume all vigor of the unique stuff? Yeah, this was like something that I couldn't really find out without like, you know, ridiculous amounts of number crunching. So apparently it is supposed to work that way. But I could not confirm it. Can you play standard double swing and push good? No, double swing is not really good currently. Hey, Cody, by the way. Good luck with the button push, by the way. Is that number 1? Okay, and the Mystic Circles are orange and white. It's like Gorilla and Jaguar, which overlaps. Yes. Okay, so do I have circles here? Oh, yeah, okay, so yeah, the circles. So they spawn white, and then they have a color theme depending on which effect is activated from the aspects. So in this case, this is a Jaguar circle. There's like 4 different aspects, 1 for each spirit, and you have this effect active, and they can actually glow in different colors at the same time. So if you combine multiple of these aspects, like the forest power, it will make it like, you know, very bright, for example, and whiter. And then there's like the centipede one that makes it green, and then there's the sky power one that makes it blue, and so on. So it's kind of cool, actually. It looks very cool visually, I gotta say, the Mystic Circles. But I don't like playing with them. But yeah, in this setup, I had some circles. So as I said, this was like a very scuffed build. I didn't actually really want to go with the circles, but I think I didn't really have like a better option. Yo, Mickey, thanks for the Brian. F, call deep. Yeah, I didn't do anything this season, so F. Is this new character like Monk? Yeah, it's very much like Monk, actually. Hordes will have less item drops, but better. So in Hordes, they changed the chest a little bit. It's gonna be 200 cost for the big chest. There's no small chest anymore. And then you'd put like all remaining either in materials or in gold. So that's what happened in Hordes. But yeah, it's probably going to be a relatively good source of ancestral loot. Especially like early on, because you get guaranteed ancestral, so you might actually want to try to farm Hordes for like, you know, an hour or something in Torrent 1. Just to get a bunch of ancestrals and just equip them all. And then you part blasting or something. So I think it's not a bad strategy, actually, for like your early progression, as soon as you get a few of those Infernal Compasses. Very clever to let streamers do the marketing. Yeah, if you ignore that they're like, you know, producing some probably multi-million dollar clips for TV and stuff. I wonder if they're gonna book some stuff like Times Square again, like they did for the original launch. How's the transbox on Spiritborn? I actually did not check the transbox at all. Yeah, anyway, Razor Wings, yeah, we'll see. I might do more testing of it sometime down the line, but yeah. So here's Soul build. So this was kind of funny. I was like optimizing a Soar setup. And you can get to the point where you can actually do like Torment 4 with it pretty reliably. This was like kind of scuffed here. So like this. So it's like a Soar only build where it's gonna like soar around, they spawn these feathers, you see them, and then you get pulled in. And they reset your Soar, so you can just like kind of spam it all the time. And then the feathers do the damage. But this was like a very shitty setup here, but this is basically Torrent 3 level. And I was kind of like one-shotting elites, yeah. And then with like better gear, you can definitely like one-shot stuff in Torrent 4 with this as well. And it's kind of like soar, 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 soar. Didn't realize Massacre is back. Yeah, Massacre is back, that's like from one of the followers. You can choose the Massacre bonus. It's kind of fun. Massive changes to Season 6, so the Season 5 tier list is absolutely obsolete. Yes, it is absolutely obsolete. Is a glaive the main weapon to get Merc out of builds for Spiritborn? That's a good question. So I would say yes, most of the time, because glaive is the slowest, I think. So you have 3 weapon types available. Quarterstaff is the fastest at 1.1. Then you have the polearm that's 1.0, and then you have glaive that's 0.9. Or do I confuse the last two? Now, glaive is 1.0 and polearm is 0.9. So actually you want to go polearm, I guess, if you want a slow weapon. It will depend a bit on the build. Some builds actually really care about fast attacking, like anything that has like Jaguar primary haul usually wants to go as fast as possible. Attack speed matters. In that case, you go quarter stuff, even if you don't really profit from the implicit. But there will be other builds where you just don't really care that much. And you want to go like higher damage per hit. So probably Touch of Death, for example, probably cares more about the higher damage per hit than it does about attacking fast. Or something like Soar, I would say, as well. You probably want to go with a pole arm here, because it's slower, and that is probably better. Probably something like Andariel's, Spiritborn as well, and so on. When will the max rotators be updated? Plan is tomorrow. Does the progression feel better? Yeah, it felt really good. Yes. Like, it definitely feels like there's a reason to, like, optimize your character, and then it feels good to eventually break into Tome 4, and then, you know, slowly get stronger, and actually eventually, like, kind of blast Tome 4. So that was nice. And, you know, like, a lot of builds that I made here, you see that I'm doing, like, Pit 50 right now. It's not even very fast, right? It's like a 5-minute Pit 50 clear. So this will be one of those cases where, you know, I'm playing, like, some B-tier build or whatever, and I'm kind of like in Tome 3 territory right now, and then I actually have to like really invest into my character, make it stronger, to then eventually go to Tome 4. And that will feel really good, I think. If you do like an S-tier build, yeah, you're gonna get to Tome 4 relatively easily, but not like immediately, so. After Victimize Merc, Victimize Heartseeker work be so good. Yeah, Darkseid told me about Victimize Heartseeker, so he kind of did like some hybrid, where he just like rolled vulnerable everywhere, and then went Victimize, but still scaled like direct damage as much as possible for like the Heartseeker itself. And apparently that's a thing. What's the new armor cap? 1000 or 2000 with penalty. The mythic chance changed for tormented bosses. Yeah, they did change the mythic chance, but we don't know to what. So I don't know. Like, I did some tormented bosses on Torment 3 and Torment 4, and it definitely looks like lower chances than before, but higher than like in Season 2. So I don't know, somewhere in between, I guess. But then they've doubled the drop rates for Duriel and Andariel again. So this might be kind of like Season 5 levels, and maybe the rest is like half of the Season 5 levels or so. I don't know exactly. I'm going to update the Discord builds, or will the updates be on max roll? Yes and yes. I mean, some of the Discord builds will be deleted, actually. Like, Bitter Medicine is not a thing, for example. Yeah, so I'm gonna delete this and this. But all the others, maybe Razor Wings, I'm not sure if I would recommend this. Razor Wings needs some cooking. I didn't really cook much, but I'm not sure how good it can be. I have an idea for Razor Wings at least, so we'll try this at some point. But I'll probably delete those 3 here. But all the others are actually really good builds. How did the new Opus feel? Very good. You get a lot of boss mats. I use the one with the boss mats a lot. And they do drop frequently. Like, I got so many boss mats all the time. Just from like playing pits or I don't know what. Will TB be good again? TB is pretty good in next season, yes. It's a pure poison Spiritborn build. Yeah, I mean, Stinger is a poison build, Touch of Death is a poison build. Darius is a poison thing you can do. If you're talking about like poisoning in the sense that you don't use Noxious Resonance and just poison and, you know, let the dot tick. I experimented with it briefly, but it just seemed weaker. What's the build we're looking at? This is it's a soar build, actually. You just soar. Like this jump. That's the build. It's just kind of like you jump and then it casts Vortex, And then Soar and Vortex are both focus skills, and they spawn the feathers around you and pull the feathers in. That's like common aspect, where I need to do focus skills all the time. So you see these feathers that appear, and then they come in, you suck them in, and you suck the enemies in, and then they just get blasted. It's kind of funny build, actually. There's also like a kind of funny gimmick where if you soar in the same place, like if you, like you can see this right now. Look at this. Look at the animations, like the, you know, the swirl is the vortex, which means that every time you see that, I cast vortex, I cast soar. I do it very fast right now. Look at this. Ding, yeah, ding, 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 ding. So this happens when you stand in the same place and don't move with your soar. If you don't move at all, if you have a cursor exactly on your character, then you can do it very faster. It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if this will be possible on console, but at least with mouse and keyboard, this is possible. You can just kind of spam it much faster. Then you get the feathers all the time. You see them? Ding, 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 ding. Would I recommend this build? First timing? It's certainly one of the weaker builds, I'd say. But again, it will go to tone 4. So if that's your target, you can get there, at least. $40k is like the highest damage you do now. Nah, it's probably more like 40 billion, I guess, will be like some of the highest numbers. But yeah. I guess like the top builds will do somewhere in the range of like, you know, some billions of DPS, I would expect. Like Bone Spirit, Touch of Death, Quill Volley. So these are the candidates for like the billions, I guess. And then like the other good builds will be somewhere in like the hundreds of millions. Why does my health go down all the time? This is from the unique chest, Jackham's Shell. Is Sword of Capileke working with Touch of Death core skill passive? Yes. I was actually doing Rod of Capileke for Touch of Death. Hardcore recommended loading and endgame spirit builds. I mean, I wouldn't really say like there's like a huge distinction again. Now, okay, Jackham's Shell is something that might catch some people on hardcore off guard, because, you know, sometimes you walk in, like here for example, right? Like the boss spawns, and I walk in with 0 HP, like this. You see? So, what the hell? So yeah, you have to be kind of careful about this, for example. When you walk in there with no HP. But I actually never had that issue that I walked in the boss room and just died. That actually never happened to me. So as long as you're kind of aware and know what you have to do, then you're fine. But yeah, Jackham's Shell might be something that I think a lot of people will probably not feel comfortable with on hardcore at least. And they might want to do some adjustments there, but I mean, it's a really big adjustment you have to make. Jackham's Shell is kind of build defining, and not running it might actually make you, you know, more squishy than running it. So there's that. But yeah, you could do something like a Tyrius Might if you want to be more tanky on hardcore, so then like try to solve your cooldowns a different way. But it's not necessarily possible for every build, because some builds really rely on the cooldowns. Seeing that 1 HP is 1 KS. Yeah, but you have barriers. You see here, for example, there's like one passive that's called Auspicious, that just gives you a barrier as you walk up to the boss, for example. Like my life drains to 0, but then I get a barrier. And yeah, then you walk in, you start healing, and you're fine, basically. And I mean, if you can't survive, you know, a tiny auto hit from the boss or something in the first like 5 seconds of the fight, with a 30% barrier, then okay, something is wrong with your build anyway. So what is my favorite merc to run? I did a lot of Zubo, because it showed the monsters and stuff on the map and the materials. I also did a lot of Mariana. Is there any build of Spiritborn that needs Centipede Ultimate? I'll probably put it in a Stinger guide, actually, for leveling. But endgame, there's basically just a Hunter. Is the new world boss Massive Hated? Nope. What will be top 3 rogue builds? Should be Dance, Victimize, Death Trap, and probably Rapid Fire. Best 1 to 60 is Campaign, normal, and then you're basically done. Campaign gives you a lot of XP. Campaign is pretty long, so you should be kind of done with that. But yeah, this is Sword build here, guys. Kind of funky build, I gotta say. Here's some rocks with their fawns. I can show that a little bit. I don't think I've seen that actually. I've shown that. Mother's Judgment, yes. How strong and comfortable is Spiritborn in hardcore? Relatively good, but you will generally have pretty low HP on this class. It's very hard to really build a lot of defenses, because you usually have a unique helm. That your unique helm is usually not a Shaco, so you don't really have any defense there. Then you usually have a unique chest, but the unique chest is usually not Terials, so it's kind of hard to build defense there. And then you have your pants, and that's about it. And the defensive mechanics are relatively gimmicky on this class. You have like a resolve stacks, so the less you get hit, the more resolve you have, the more damage reduction you have. So if you get hit very often, then you take more damage. It's kind of like the Dark Shroud, but more mild, I guess. And they also have this like life drain all the time from the Jack and Shell if you play with that chest. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to get enough healing, and then you have to make sure that you don't get caught off guard with no HP. Is it right you can dump all of your items of next season? Yes, that's right. All of your items will be worthless. There are still capstones? No. When will bits be live on Max Roam? Starting tonight. Yeah, what I'm playing here right now is Thorns Rock Splitter. So this is with Step Zontic. So it's actually this triple hit, these big circles. Like these circles are large, man. Look at them. This Rock Splitter hits like the entire screen, man. It's very good AoE farming. That is just the Pit 55, but Eva pushed this build a lot more. Like he was actually like maining this basically, and he actually cleared like I think 82. He told me, and he was also not optimized at all. So he was doing a lot of phone stuff, and this looks like a pretty solid build. If he can already do 82 on his scuffed setup, then this will probably push definitely into the 90s. And you can get Eclipse to 100, basically. And there was also some bugs. There were like some pretty big multipliers not working on Thorns. So if they start working, then it's pretty easy as to build. Like, there was a glyph, for example, that didn't work. 2 glyphs, actually. Runes are pay to win or not? No. They're just an expansion feature that you don't get if you don't have the expansion. Expect the balance to be same as usual with a few builds completely busted. I mean, like stuff like Touch of Death and Kill Volley is pretty good, but they only really become busted on like the very high end, I think. And at that point, you know, it's all about just pit pushing. You know, like, doesn't really matter anymore, basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah, they have an easier time getting to World 4, or to Torment 4 rather, and stuff like that. But not really like significantly better than most other builds, I'd say. And then they just kind of like pop off on the very high end, where it's all about like, you know, going to the highest pit, which, you know, doesn't really have like a huge reward or something. Can you show a clip with dying while having 100% dodge chance? Is that bugged? No, it's not bugged. It's just that the explosive elites count as a ground effect, and ground effects cannot be dodged. So this here is not a ground effect that you see here. Actually, I think the fire bolts that come out of this fire enchanted, like the 3 bolts, actually it's not doing it, but yeah, those lines, right, that shoot out the fire. So I think this cannot be dodged, but the explosion itself can be dodged, funny enough, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's like the explosive relates that spawn these globes on the ground and then they explode, and they just count as a ground effect, so you can't touch them. Even though they do a hit and not dot. Reward for beating the raids is just a cash. Every boss drops a bunch of stuff. And you also have like certain consumables you can buy there, and then a bunch of cosmetics, and then the weekly cash as well. The weekly cash is pretty good actually. Like these weekly caches you get like, you know, multiple GA items and even like double GA, and I guess it has probably like a relatively high chance for mythic and stuff like that. So the weekly cache seems very nice. After campaign normal we can do T1 with no aspects, etc. No. You definitely want to do some aspects at that point. So after level 50, like basically close to level 60, you basically want to try to get the build going, right? So you have like a few hours played, you have some aspects found and so on, and you want to try to just make a combo out of that, right? And then slowly go to Torment 1. And you also have like, you know, huge item power inflation at level 50 onwards. So, you know, they start at level 50 with, I don't know, item power 500 or so. And then those last 10 levels, you get like up to 750. And then at level 60, you get 750 item power all the time. So that's a huge jump in power. And then this is the point where you start tempering more, where you start imprinting your stuff. And then you go to Torment 1. Torment 1 is not a very high bar. You know, you can do that as long as you have like a bit of a combo and not an absolutely terrible build. But you definitely need to progress a little bit from normal to Torment 1. Yo, Oath then. Thanks for the prime, by the way. What's any way to stay high block chance? You cannot get more than 100% block chance. So this is usually just Armored Hide. The alternative is Quarter Staff plus Rock Splitter plus 1 point in Patient Guard. That is 70%. There's also a temper for Rock Splitter block chance. You can do that, and then you can use Rock Splitter to get to 100% block. If our Citadel was only dropping cosmetics, nah, you still get a reward for doing the Citadel. It's just like there's nothing that you can get there that gives you character power. So they didn't want to like lock something behind grouping for people, you know, that they force someone to do the Citadel or something. Did it change the Spiritborn mythic with plus 10 to all skills? Yes. And it will not be used for anything. Strongholds get to 60, so XP same as on normal as Impenitent? Yeah, you don't do normal strongholds. Penitent will not be feasible for our servers for fresh builds. Like Penitent, even on a twink, will be kind of tough. So you want to be careful, especially on hardcore. But realistically, you go on hard most of the time, and even on normal is not really unlikely, I gotta say. Okay, there's some Andario. There's an Andario Spiritborn here. So I was trying some stuff there. Is it known how good Sorg and Rogue will be? It is known. Sorg will have one really, really powerful build, and Rogue will have a bunch of pretty good builds. So that's what I know, at least. Mythic Spiritborn weapon seems awful now. I mean, it didn't really look that good before to me. People were just very hyped about 27 all skills. But that was not good enough to make it viable anyway. And now they removed the 27 to all skills, and now it's certainly not viable, so there's that. Yo, Cold Deep, thanks so much for the 5 subs, dude. Appreciate that. So Spiritborn aspects available in new maps dungeons. Every core skill aspect is available in the dungeons, and every dungeon in the Hantu has Spiritborn aspects, but you can't get all of them. Heartseeker will be fine, you saw Victimize got nerfed. I mean, Heartseeker does not rely on Victimize. Hardcore Planet race will be fun. Yeah, I was actually talking about this with the guys. Like, sometime this season, we're definitely gonna do a, you know, penitent only hardcore race. Just that, you know. And then see, like, you know, the highest level or something after 2 hours or something like that. That's gonna be great. Where do you get most gold? Horse or whispers? Actually, good question. I didn't really check where I got most of my gold. The season theme actually got a bunch of golds. There's also like some of these opals that give you gold drops. It seems like Hordes is just not really that great. So I tried Hordes a little bit and neither the gold nor the materials felt really good. So it's just kind of like you do 6 waves, click on the equipment chest, open whatever, and leave. And that was about it. And if you want to care about like XP farm, then I guess you can do 10 wave Hordes. Because you get more stuff and they stay there longer. But yeah, that was about it for Infernal Hordes. It didn't seem that great anymore. Here's the okay. Is the tribute for amulets have passes as solution or bait? I think this will be absolutely a viable way to farm high-end amulets. I mean, especially like in the softcore economy where people have billions and billions of gold. With like RMT and like selling stuff to RMTers. I think that this is gonna be very good actually. Like if you find like one juicy drop and you sell it for 10 billion, then you can fund your next like, you know, 200 Kuras runs or something. And you'll probably find something else on the way there to sell for the same amount. If you only played Rogue, then you will enjoy Spiritborn. Sonic expansion patent. It feels like Souls like Diablo. Kind of, yeah. Like, Penitent is gonna be rough on level 1. Like, I couldn't... Okay, guys. I could not complete the Spiritborn class quest on hard. I could not. And there's 2 more difficulties. Yeah, this guy, man. It's rough. Okay, and to be fair, I had no renown. This is 0 renown. I didn't have any skill points, any potions, or anything. And, you know, I was level 15. I had nothing. I just tried to do the fucking class quest at level 15 without anything. But yeah, I couldn't, man. It's crazy. This guy just kills you. Like, he's tanky. I do no damage. Look at that shit. And then there's like 4 phases you have to go through where you have to click these things and then dodge the stuff. And then kill some ads. I just couldn't. Did you try equivalent materials? I mean, that will look funny, but that's about it. Like, what's the point of that? Gamers game. Yeah. I mean, you can do it on hard, but I think even with renown on expert, you're probably gonna struggle pretty hard. Or pretty expertly. But yeah, you look at this. I have 0 potions. I'm just running out of life here. I don't have resources to cast Stinger to get healing. It's tough, man. Out there. Actual boss fight for a class quest. Yeah, I had to go down to normal, man. I tried this like a few times. I could not do it. This was only one of the phases, you know. There's like 4 of them. You have to like click on all these totems there. Every time there's like this ad spawning and there's like some stuff going on you have to dodge. And even if you dodge that all the time, and look at these fucking ads. Look how they're smacking me, man. Look at this. Yeah, I'm trying to save my potions. Yeah, I have 4 potions, right? So here, look at this. Bam, bam. Like, what are you gonna do, man? This fucking wreck you. Crazy. And there's no healing, you know, this is not rogue. You don't have siphoning strikes or some shit like that. You can't do like dark shrouds to just casually heal when you get hit or something. There's nothing. I even had Stinger. I was actually healing with Stinger. And that was not enough. You died on this dude on normal, lol. Yeah, exactly. It's rough, man. Boom. Should have fought that boss with Centipede Secondary. Ah, okay, yeah. I forgot, man. Why didn't I do that? Just go Centipede, guys. For the class quest. Okay. Spiritborn fairly powerful on random combinations, only shines, or truly field-crafted meta builds. I'd say the Spiritborn is generally strong enough to work for most people, even if you do it, let's say, wrong. Spiritborn is generally relatively good, I'd say. And even if you do like some weird, wacky stuff, you will probably be okay at least. And then, you know, eventually people will kind of like learn what works and why and whatever, right? What's the level of that quest? I did. Everything is... There's no levels anymore, you know? So it's monsters scale up with your level, I guess, but... Yeah, I was on hard difficulty, man. I tried it a few times and I went to normal. And then I did it. And even that was not... not too easy. So, yeah, look, this is on normal now. I did like the entire thing again. That's a class quest. And then it kind of worked. Like, look at this wave here, for example. It still like does like a third of your life or something if you walk in there. Is 10 million or 40 million gold a good outcome on hordes estimated on T3? I don't know how much gold it was, to be honest. It definitely felt not as good as before. That's what I can say. Hardcore is hard stuck at a class quest, man. Yeah, you can't unlock it. I guess maybe the strat would be to just go campaign until you get your follower, and then just use your follower here. That will probably make it a lot easier. The followers actually do some damage on low levels until they become irrelevant. Did I get to play any of the rogue builds? No, I did not make a rogue now. I mean, rogue barely changed anyway. There was like some tweaks on some mechanics. But basically everything I need to know about a rogue was on a PTR, besides like, you know, a few little things. So... I will not play rogue on a star now. I think community will enjoy the new difficulty. Are you worried about a bunch of D4 bad comments if folks can't get to D4? I mean, no. Because the D4 bad comments usually come from elitist guys and not from, you know, casuals. So I don't think that they really worry about, you know, difficulty in the game. They would say D4 bad because the game's too easy and not too hard. And the game being too easy was a valid problem. And, you know, now we have the option to make both easy and difficult content, right? So they made it so that you can access everything on different difficulty levels. And all you lose is, like, you know, speed and efficiency in your progression. And that's not a bad system. So it allows, you know, the blasters to kind of like get to the highest level faster and you know, get their stuff faster and just like enjoy the difficulty. And it allows casual players to just kind of like, you know, kind of do whatever they want, do some weird wacky builds, you know, don't play meta, don't follow guides, just, you know, do whatever, right? And it still works. And that's okay, I think. Quinn's community is not elitist. Okay, I don't know about Quinn's community exactly, but they just say D4 bad because their shepherd is saying it, I guess. Streamer, maybe you should try following leveling guide. I'll try next time. But yeah. Can do some rake stuff. Rake is kind of funny. Look at that animation. That's a Rake of Capileki. So what Capileki does is it makes the skill cast at maximum size, which means the same as a 100% size tempo. But for some reason, I think it's bugged with Rake. It's very large. Look at that shit, man. Melee, by the way. This is like PoE melee, you know? That kind of melee. That's kind of funny with Rake, man. Unfortunately, it's not very strong. Rake is a relatively weak skill. And I think the best way to play it is with Thorns, with Gorilla Hall. But if you want to make a Capileki Rake build, it does feel funny like this. It just doesn't really have boss damage at all. But yeah, it is kind of cool. Yeah, it looks hilarious, man. Can there also proc of stuff like Pestilence Swarms? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so, though. No, Pestilence Swarms, no. I thought you were talking about the Touch of Death Swarms. No, Ravager is once per skill use per enemy, basically. It looks bugged, doesn't cover the whole screen. Yeah. Was I okay with the Victimize change or upset? Well, it seems like Victimize is kind of clunky now with the new internal cooldown, so that's the problem, and I think they need to solve that somehow. Okay, here this is Torment free, and yeah, with a better setup, I mean, this is gonna be a pretty good speedfarming build. Look at that AoE, you know? Imagine you kill stuff this fast. Okay, unfortunately the health had ended here. But imagine you kill stuff this fast in Torment 4 with this build, which you can do at some point with better gear. It's gonna feel pretty good, I think. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. Yeah, decent speedfighting build, I would say. It's also like you jump to the enemies all the time. And I guess you could even include like a Soar or a Rushing Claw in that, so if you want, you can like jump over the cliffs and stuff. I guess you could even do like Shaco to get even more cooldown or so, just like Hunter every 2 seconds, like bing, 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 stuff like that. It looks like a TLI build, yeah. Yeah, for some reason it's Omega large. I don't know what's going on. That's with the Capileki, only with Capileki. I'd say it seems like twice as large as it should be or so if you look at the 100% size temper. Like the original ability is much less. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like also a cone like this, but it's like maybe a quarter. And then with the extra size temper, maybe half. So maybe it's just like twice as large as it should be or so. It's only right click? Yeah, this is a right click. Builds on Discord are not updated right now. I didn't have any time for that. Like this stuff I was playing until yesterday, and I didn't touch my planners at all. I mean, okay, I was working on some planners, but this was actually not one of them that was linked there. But yeah, we'll have to do this like tonight, tomorrow and stuff, and like update stuff. The decrep auto casting is nice. Yes, I was using that a lot on Spiritborn. Because it gives you defense, it gives you execute. Like decrep is generally like a really good rune to use. It's just kind of nice. Okay, I was doing some stuff here, some calculations. Here's some pits runs to that. So this is a 55, not very high, but yeah, you kind of like have this AoE clear. And then yeah, as I said, you know, imagine this with better damage, you can easily do Tone 4 at up pace. Faster, and just like it hits the entire screen. It's kind of cool, but not a good push build or something like that. Spiritborn had some nice ideas. My favorite was Quill Volley, followed by Touch of Death. They're also like the strongest actually, and I mean like Payback and Crushing Hands too. It was fun to play. Not that like the Super Merc map reveal. I used it a bit, But ultimately, kind of whatever. It sounds better than this, I think. Because the game is already kind of like, you know, well optimized around having like a good flow with monsters and stuff like that. So that's not really, you know, like a problem. Like it's not like, okay, you're missing monsters in a corner or something like that. So which build is best for leveling? For Spiritborn? Yeah, I'll probably just do a Quill Volley all the way for the progression part, like leveling and going into Torment 4 and Citadel and stuff like that. And then eventually I will pivot to other setups. Quill is pretty good. Best pit pushing build is probably Touch of Death, and then slightly behind Quill Volley, I think. It's hard to say, because Quill Volley has like some pretty Omega scaling with attack speed. Well, I guess Touch of Death as well, to some degree, actually. They both use Jaguar Hall. Yeah, tough to say. They were both very powerful. This guy says Quill Volley leveling in Endgame is a big switch at a certain point. No, it's just that because, for example, we have like the Maxwell structure where you have leveling guides and endgame guides, and I have like, you know, both in the same planner. So this is why I have it listed like that. Yeah, we will update the Maxwell tiers tomorrow. Also, a lot of guides will go live today, tomorrow, and the weekend. That's a Shred route with fire. Kinda, actually. It kind of feels a bit like Shred with like big area. Oh. Tormented Echo. Dude, Echo of Andariel is fucking rough. Like, everything just kills you there, man. Crazy. Oh, look at that lag, by the way. Look at me walking through the beam. Look at that. Look where I am. Okay. Seems good, yeah. This rake build looks very nice. I don't think I can push bit for this build. I mean, he can, but you're not gonna go very far. Like this build, like this rake build will be fine to get into Torment 4, but not really, you know, much beyond that. Here, this is Torment 4. I can actually see this a bit in action. I think here this is Ace of Spades actually playing like a, you know, more higher end Touch of Death. Yeah, look, this is Touch of Death. Look at the HP on the boss. But he was a Giga Squish, so he had like an Omega Squishy set up there. But yeah, the damage is pretty good on Touch of Death, guys. Once they have like a better setup. Look. Bam, bam, bam. That's just Ace of Spades here right now. He was also playing Touch of Death at some point in our party. How good is my gear here? Giga Potato. Still stacks on tormented bosses? Yes, but I'm not sure if they exist on the lower torments. Or just in Torment 3 and 4 or something. Anyway, wipe a bunch of Andariel, okay. Then we did a bunch of bosses, okay, so that's it. But yeah, anyway. Kind of fun, this rake stuff. Continuing with Ace. We just ended up in like the same boss party. I wasn't really doing much of him, but once or twice I think we did some bosses. And like here in this case, like they wanted to do Torment 4 bosses, and you know, I just brought my mats, and like he kind of just carried since he had a working build and I didn't. You know, I was just like randomly experimenting with weird builds. So sometimes I joined some parties and I was the carry, and other people had weird builds that didn't work, or I joined and I had a weird build that didn't work, and someone else carried. So that's kind of how that went. How's Inferno Hordes now? Very good for XP. I guess kind of okay for Ancestrals, and that's about it. You cooked all the builds? I was cooking a lot, yeah. How long will the campaign take the blasters? If I had to guess, you can probably, like, if you only focus on campaign, nothing else, I guess you can do it in 2 hours if you're really fast. but I don't think really faster than that. It will take a while to do the campaign. How's Rogue holding up? Any good bow builds? Rapid Fire is looking pretty good, and Heartseeker is also looking pretty good. When you discuss difficulties, you mean the old PTR scaling or actual patch scaling? No, I mean like the new scaling. Two hours minimum campaign. Yeah, I took way longer for the campaign, but I also, like, you know, I watched the cutscenes and whatever, so I don't know exactly how long it will take if you skip everything. I guess we'll see on Tuesday. I'll just rush through. And then after 2 hours or so, people can come to my stream spoiler free. So. I'm gonna watch the cutscenes the first round. I mean, I did watch the cutscenes here, so I've seen the story and everything. I'm not gonna do it on launch. On launch I'm gonna race, so. Hey Varus, by the way. Which class will be meta? By meta I mean which cleans the pit quickly and easily for endgame. Everything but Druid, I guess. How do you like the story? It was pretty good, I think. Like, Mephisto is just a fucking badass. So that's a fact. And yeah, it was nice. Like, every time you see Mephisto, you just like, you know, you get what's it called? Goosebumps. I feel. So that's cool. Race to where? Yeah, we're probably gonna do like a Maxwell event for Torment 4 Dark Citadel. You've seen the expansion story, but haven't even done the original without skipping? Unlucky, huh? This is a video right now. I'm just like talking. Guys, checked campaign quest turn in on party bug. I don't know what bug you mean. Oh. What makes you lose life? That's the Jakim Shell unique chest. Does the class play like Druid? No, I don't know. It's more like a Rogue if you compare it to the 4 stuff. Or Monk from the 3 is like the closest, I would say. Feels very Monk-like. Not very Druid-like. I mean, there's like kind of like this, you know, animal connection, I guess, with Druids. That's about it. Doesn't feel ass before uniques? I wouldn't say so. There are a few tools available that just work in the early game. So one thing that carries you in the early game is Vital Strikes. This key passive here. It's like a huge carry in the early game, because it gives you healing and resources all the time. And for this you use Soar with the vulnerable effect, and you use the Seeker with the vulnerable effect. Also, Kill Volley itself has a vulnerable built in. And some other effects can do it. But yeah, Soar and Seeker plus Vital Strikes plus Eagle Primary Hall. Yeah, and at least after level 15, once you have the Eagle Primary Hall, and then at 23, you'll get Vital Strikes. You're kind of chilling, basically. This is like the early game combo for mini builds, and then you just like play until you find something. Survivability is not a huge concern, at least as long as you're not playing over hard difficulty. But you will need some sustain, and Vital Strikes does that for you. And before that, yeah, like the class doesn't have a lot of sustain outside of centipede things. So they really only put like healing into mostly centipede stuff. And there's not really a good way to get sustain otherwise. So, for example, there's Fueled, which gives you 5% life on kill, which is not bad. So if you're kind of blasting for everything, this is good enough sustain. But if you're not blasting for everything, this doesn't help you. So you need something like a Scourge to give you lifesteal, or you need something like a Touch of Death to give you the healing. Or you need something like the Centipede Secondary. So Centipede Secondary is very good for leveling. Something like Ego plus Centipede for leveling is very chill, I gotta say. So this makes it like super easy, just kind of like get to the 60. It's just like Eagle, Centipede, Vital Strikes. But you probably don't need Centipede Secondary, and you can go for Jaguar. And then you can have Rushing Claw all the time. With the cooldown reset there from the Ferocity. Yeah, Gorilla stuff also has barriers, so there's a bit of sustain there. With Crushing Hand giving you barriers. There is barriers from Concussive Stomp, but this is like a 10-second cooldown. The barrier is only 3 seconds. Adaptive Stances is not something for the early game, so you can't really use that. Protector Barrier is buggy. But yeah. And deleting life per second affix? No. But I have deleted it everywhere from Paragons, I think. They're just deleting impairment reduction on items, I think. Spiritborn unique hungry? Quite a lot, yeah. Basically every build goes for a lot of uniques. What's the video about Undercity? Oh, in party, I think everyone can choose their own bargain, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I talked about this on the campfire though. Did they update any of the class quests for the other classes, or do you have to run the old content to do class quests, even if you're starting a vessel campaign? The class quests did not change. And I mean, the rest of the map is still there. It not just in the Hantu, you know? It will go to everywhere. It's not that they didn't just delete everything, you know? The Hantu is an addition and not a replacement for everything. I mean, of course, you can expect that a lot of the campaign will take place there. A little spoiler, I guess. But, yeah. It's not like it's just Nahantu for the entire expansion and that's it. It's a campaign completion pre-requirement for Season Journey. Well, that's a requirement to enter Torment, I think. I think you literally cannot go into Torment if you haven't done a campaign. So you need to do a campaign. Altai is better than Strongholds. You can just, like, Strongholds are still really good and the best. I mean, some Strongholds might be too slow now, but generally Strongholds are good for leveling, but you don't have enough Strongholds to get to 60. You have to do other stuff. You can do Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide without the new campaign. And Undercity unlocks somewhere in the campaign, I think. The Mercenaries unlock somewhere in the campaign. And then, yeah, okay, you can do World Bosses and Strongholds and Legions, I guess. And Whispers. which was unlocked after the original campaign, so they should be there. But either way, you just kind of do the campaign from the start, right? So you start at the 1, do the campaign. What's the most OP build? Mostly Touch of Death and Quill Volley. Is the original campaign different with the new level cap? I don't think they changed the original campaign, but I haven't tried it. It's the way to make Gorilla Fawns build work. Yes. If you're talking about Gorilla Hall, this is done with Rake the best. Because Rake, with its aspect, gives you 2 hits. And it can apply the Gorilla twice. So there's a way to do it. But an even better build is just Rock Splitter. Rock Splitter has pretty high damage potential with Thorns. Because you can scale it with skill damage. That does not work for the Gorilla Hall Thorns. So the Gorilla Hall Thorns is much harder to scale. If you take primary Jaguar, secondary Gorilla, you'll get Primal Ensemble with Peacemonger, Signet, and Duelist. You don't need Duelist for that combo. Yeah, but Peacemonger will give you Resolve, and that will give you Perma Unstoppable, yes. Good luck, Filmic. Perma Unstoppable for all the CC that does not exist. Yeah, fair. Unstoppable is not a huge benefit these days. But it is kind of nice for something like Tybalt's Will or so. And also 2 maximum extra resolve is kind of nice. We don't gear mercs, yeah, just skills. Unstoppable is still valuable in hardcore. Nah, not really. Like CC barely exists unless you get a frozen from like frozen release or something. Are all of the builds of Spiritborn easy to play? No. On a level from Necro to DB Rogue, where would it be at? There's quite a lot of like timing involved and these kind of things on Spiritborn. Now, it's not like the most complicated or something. Sometimes you just face roll. Other times there's like, you know, little gimmicky stuff. Like, you know, for example, many of my builds will run Jackham Shell. And this constantly drains your life. So you kind of have to play around that life drain. So this is just something to be aware of at all times, basically. But yeah. Hi, Nico. Any cool druid builds? They're like Omega buffing Shred. And then there's Landslide that's still there. Like the pure Landslide. And a bunch of other stuff that's a bit behind that, I guess. What merc was the best overall? Yeah, anything but Oldkin, I'd say. Hello, Brains. Is Earthen Bulwark build still viable for Season 6? Season 1 is my favorite. Well, Earthen Bulwark was a bug, and that got fixed like a year ago or something like that, and it does not exist anymore. What happened to Shred? They buffed the aspects for it, they buffed the... what was it called? Wild Impulses. Legendary node for a big damage boost. Bunch of other like buffs. Shred looking kinda good. You create a season character and you do the campaign. And after the campaign you will probably be 60 or close to it. Oh, Eric. Yeah, all of them. Okay, that's a lot. What's up with the Altkin hate? What's the downside? The downside is that he either makes you vulnerable, which is very nice, or he drains your resources, which is not as bad, I guess. But yeah. And then he doesn't really provide much of an upside that really makes up for that. So, yeah. I guess this language stuff could be kind of something for like a pit push. Because of condemned to instantly kill language and enemies with less than 40% life does not work on elites. So, this could be something, but I mean, most of the time, you don't really care that much about normal enemies. Yeah. In general, I mean, Altkin doesn't really seem that great, I think. With the downside, like, okay, if you don't care about the resource thing, then you can go to flame thing, but then the flame thing has like worse buffs. Okay, that's a bit of crit, but it's not even like consistent. It's like, you know, a third of the time you have a bit of crit. A Storm of Fire that can give you some resources back that he drains from you. Great. So yeah, I don't know. What are Artificer Stones for? They seem to be rare. Yeah, you need for the pit. So again, a sub-gift campaign. There is actually. So if you give 2 subs, you get a horse, and if you give 4 in total, you'll also get an armor for it. And it looked pretty cool. We have the exclamation mark news. There's like some article about it. Will there be any lore Easter eggs if you play Spiritborn through the original campaign? Maybe. Maybe there's like some stuff that they added. I mean, at the very least, they must have added like all of the cutscenes and voice lines and all that stuff, right, for the Spiritborn to you know, speak for the NPCs and stuff. But maybe there's also some other extra stuff. Make it wise. Yeah, we see just asked why I'm not wearing a shirt and cover shot. Yo. True, I guess. I wonder if there's like some stuff like that. I have tested Shroud of False Death on the PTR, but I did not actually get one now in the early access. I mean, Shroud of False Death is not bad on this class. It could definitely be used on some builds that don't really care about like 100% uptime on something like Armored Height or Counter Attack or so. Shroud of False Death gives you like a lot of extra damage passes. There's like, you know, especially if you have a lot of like different tags. If you go like Harmony plus Shroud, then you can get like, you know, something like Potent, Furnace, Ravenous, Oppressive, Nourishment, and then like, for example, Gorilla stuff here altogether. But as far as I know, that did not fix the bug that made Shroud not work on unallocated passives, which is a bit of a problem. So yeah, but there is like definitely pretty huge damage buffs here, probably like in the range of like 30% or more, depending on the build. Maybe more than that actually from Shroud. Shroud is pretty strong chest. Paragon Rhino is not yet updated. I think so. Okay, not in Life Planner. We have the early access planner that should override the Life Planner very soon. So we have this. It has like scuffed icons. But it does have the correct nodes as far as I know. But this is currently not available for public yet, so we hope like later today. Spiritborn or Rogue, what are we starting with? Ah, Frosty. Are we doing Spiritborn? I mean, I've been like playing Spiritborn non-stop for the last 1.5 weeks. And I've been cooking Spiritborn builds for the last like 3 weeks or 4. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Did you try the more filled out paragons? Yes, actually, we had this. So you see here, this is the starting board, for example. Look how chunky this is. Like compares. Paint comes back. So we do this. And let's compare this to before. Look at that puny little board. So I got this. Look at that. So this is new and this is old. Yeah. So they made some of these pretty nice. They literally like added like a full extra row here outside. You see that? Here, ding, 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 ding. And here. Giga board. Yeah, this thing has like a ridiculous main stat, I think. Wait. Yeah, okay, 105. So I went from 80 to 105. I got 5 more nodes for your decks. It's kind of similar on the others, yeah. Like 110 decks, 115, 110, 110. And also like, you know, some of these strength values. Here, 74 strength, 69 int, and so on. So it's pretty wild. These things are chunky. Look at that. So here, I just added like an entire new row. And here. And here. What's my build for the race? Quill Volley. How did capping res feel? Pretty tough. Capping res is you roll res on every single piece. Basically, that's how it works. Every item has res. I mean, there's an alternative way, which is you go Rakanov boots. So that's an option. You know, something like that. Instead of going Tyraels, you can do this. And that can kind of save you from like 3 or 4 rolls. Also get cooldown, which is cool. You get this, which is nice. You get this. It's not terrible, to be honest, to go Rakanov, I think. But you have to give up an aspect. But you get like, yeah, probably 2 or 3 rolls at least on the other pieces. And I mean, this is also not terrible, I think. So get a bit of extra additive. I mean, won't matter that much on most builds. But early on, this could be like a good option, just cap your res. Maybe you want to go for a Rakanov for progression and then later replace them. Yeah, opening some of the res chains on Paragons would help. I mean, the Paragons are actually pretty insane source of resistances, yeah, because they definitely beefed up a lot of nodes. And you can actually make like 300 points boards now. I've done that last night, for example. I've like reworked the Touch of Death Paragon board. And there's actually a reason to go to Paragon 300 now. There's just like a lot of good nodes now that you just want to pick. And yeah, a lot of res that you want to pick. And even like going up to like Paragon 220, 240 or so, you'll probably not even have enough points to pick all of the res and armor nodes. Plus, you know, all the glyphs and all of the legendary nodes. So you actually kind of need to level to like 250 plus to really kind of get most out of the Paragons at least. A Gitava plushie pre-order. I did not see it, but it sounds fun. If the cooldown nerf and ultimate rune, main of arrow permaspam is no more. That rune is not a requirement. So main of arrow spam is still very much a thing, and so is Death Trap. There was a problem loading this website. Bonkers. Are you talking about Jaguar build of Rakanov? Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about Rakanov. Rakanov is just like an easy way to get resistances. And that's nice. And I mean, if you have like a slot to put like a duelist aspect on your pants, for example. So duelist is something that I had like in basically every single build. Just like 5 ferocity, kapow. So usually that was on my boots. But in this case, you put it on the pants, but you lose your defensive power, I guess, that you could put on the pants. But if there's nothing really important for your defenses, then you can do that. And then you just have your rest figured out, basically, easy. And the good thing is it's like unconditional. I mean, the non-physical damage on this is like very little. Like late game, you're still gonna have like, 1500 or 2k or so additive damage, maybe more. So this non-physical damage is gonna contribute like, I don't know, 5% of your damage. But it's still 5%. And this works unconditionally. You get cooldown, which is nice. You get lots of move speed. There's also not really a movement tempo you care about most of the time on this class. So a typical pair of boots would actually just look like movement, res, armor, or something like that. That's like a typical pair of boots for this class. And then tempo, like, some random like utility thing, like a CC or whatever. And then movement speed again. So the movement speed is kind of comparable. The res is like 4 times better than a normal roll or so. And yeah, a tiny bit of damage. Then the cooldown kind of helps a bit. So I think that progression-wise, I would probably include Dragunov just to make sure I keep my res capped. You don't have to go like all in on damage or something or in defense just to get through the torments. But I think late game, probably I would replace Dragunov a lot on builds again. What will be meta endgame content rogue for season 6? Mostly dance. What is that, Patronus? Who did I play the raids with and were they actually challenging? I did play the raids with Chronix and Condas twice, and then once with Ava and once with Darkside for the last. Torment 4 is definitely challenging, I'd say. Like, stuff hurts, you have to do the mechanics. I mean, okay, if you have a lot of damage, you can kind of trivialize a lot of fights. But yeah, getting to Torment 4 and taking down the Citadel is gonna be quite challenging, I'd say. Spend and difficulty do level 1. Yeah, not really. What do you get from raids? Some cosmetics, and then some big weekly reward cash, and lots of runes, and some random stuff. Raid is available on all difficulties. Yeah, you can do it on Torment 1, you can do it on Torment 2, and so on. You can kind of just like always go a bit lower on the difficulty and just try it out, learn the mechanics, It's kind of nice actually, like, let's say you do each difficulty once, right? You do like Torment 1, then you do Torment 2, then you do Torment 3. And then before you actually go for like the most challenging one, you have already done 3 runs through it. So everyone knows what to do, we have seen the bosses, and so on. So that's not too bad. So you kind of have like a natural progression, and like Torment 1 is, not hard at all. You can just go in there and do it, basically. And then it just gets harder and harder. How high were the damage numbers after the extra squish? I mean, you got nerfed by something like 70–80%, I guess. And then they made monsters a bit tankier, so damage numbers are still, close to what they were. But everything is just like, yeah, harder. How long did raid take to complete? Yeah, like ultimate speedrun on raid will probably be around 20 minutes, I think. Like, you can't really go faster than that, I think. I think the normal ancestral gearing system works well for character progression. Yeah, I think now that they changed it to 2 tempers and 8 masterworking on normal loot, that's pretty good, I think. Like, even if you find like some kind of like key unique for a build, let's say this one here, right? And you get only a 750 version of it because it has a good roll. Yeah, you just kind of stick to it. and use that for a while until you get an ancestral at some point, right? It's okay in most cases. So I kind of like that. And then also like the double temperers, you can at least get your build online, you can get the right stuff that you want, right? And I put it there and just keep going. And then eventually you're gonna get these ancestral upgrades, and it feels pretty good. Fleshwinder with Rune Word and Nature's Fury might make it viable. I think Fleshwinder is dead, if you ask me. Raid packs are immediately on completion. Is that Temper's reset item in the new season? Yes. You know, ancestor drops were increased, but I hope not too plentiful. There were not too many, I think. And the thing is, you know, even if you get them, it will take a little bit to actually like really use them and really get good rolls, because it is relatively costly to do anything with them. Like all of the ancestral items, they require like, you know, a lot more Forgotten Souls, a lot more, you know, salvage mats and so on to like manipulate. Tempering and imprinting and all that is very costly on ancestrals. Masterworking is more costly. So in general, you know, even if you get an ancestral, you might think twice of using it if it doesn't have the right stats for you, for example. Will there be any guides on Maxwell for me on a Spiritborn? Yeah, I'm writing 7 Spiritborn guides actually on Maxwell. Well, I have written 7, but I need updating. I wrote them like 2 weeks ago already. And then they'll go live probably tonight and tomorrow mostly. I need to like cook some of the planners again a little bit more. So they need a bit of tweaking, and you know, the paragons have changed. The paragons takes quite a long time to figure out now, because those more points are more relevant. So, you know, we also have like a system where we do like multiple boards. And, you know, we show like the progression with like, you know, little 15 glyphs, little 46 glyphs, little 100 glyphs. And then, you know, the Paragon 300. So there's like a lot of like, you know, Paragon stuff we have to do for the guides. That takes a long time. And I have to like update some text that I wrote and so on. Brilliance passive is capped. It takes your real movement speed. Mystic Circles killed. Mostly Fawn's build still uses circles. Isn't there just a solver by now for Paragon? I would be very surprised about that. All the Unibirds scuffed now because of the change the proc rate. I did try Andariel's Spiritborn, and that was actually pretty solid. And I think the changes were already in the build that we played. So it looks fine. Victimize is kind of the scuffed one, I think. Is getting the Paragon 200 similar to max making level 100 on live server? No. 200 Paragon will definitely take longer than level 100 on live server. Like leveling 260, I would say, is probably like half as long as leveling to 100 on live. And yeah, getting from 0 to 200 Paragon, it is relatively fast, but it will take you a bit longer than that, at least. But yeah, by Paragon 200, you have kind of like most of the stuff online. So at least you will get all of your like legendary nodes, for example, and all of your glyphs by Paragon 200, but not much else. And there's gonna be like a lot of like, you know, extra nodes here and there and here and there, and there's like, you know, 10 extra clusters you're gonna pick up, and then you're gonna max out your glyphs more, and there's like a lot of power that still unlocks as you level up more. And then you can like, you know, start replacing rest from your gear and have it on the Paragons and so on. But yeah. I haven't tried Andario yet. Yeah, Andario Spiritborn, I did it with Quill Volley. It was pretty decent. I just played like Quill Volley like this, and then Noxus Resonance, Andariel's, Fist of Fate, and What did I do here? I think I used Gorilla and Unyielding Hits, actually. I think I had like Unyielding Hits two-handed or something. And... or Redirected Force, two-handed, Unyielding Hits neck or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty solid, actually. And the good thing is with Andarius, you can also like very easily use Jack and Shell because it just heals you all the time, so you have like perma full life anyway. It's kind of nice. Inferno Horde's still the best way to get Masterworking mats? No, it's pretty bad for that actually. I'm not sure if that was like intended balance, but it was kind of bad. Like one Nightmare Dungeon is like 1000 Opticide, and an Infernal Horde is not much more than that actually. So it's like 3 times faster or something to go into Nightmare Dungeons. Your Spiral Cycle. What progress will be carried over to Vessel of Hated? Your Renown. So you want to find all the altars, you want to do all the map exploration, get all of your like Renown things unlocked in every zone. And you want to do campaign ones. Code outside. Yes. Did Ravager upgrade work with Overheal? I don't know actually, but for me it was always at 40. Basically. Like it works on like any little heal, and I think it only spends 1 stack each time it triggers. So it is fairly easy to keep it up as long as you have any kind of healing. What's the point of Infernal Hordes? Well, Giga leveling and Ancestral Gear, I guess. And gold, I guess. I think it's YouTube video material, like the Andariel and Spiritborn. I might make a Andariel planner. I actually don't have a planner for it yet, but I can work on something. I'll probably cook some more builds this weekend anyway on stream. I'll do some cooking off stream now as well, because I'm also going to be writing guides at the same time. So I'll be working on guides now. I'll actually go offline, I think. And yeah, tomorrow I guess we're going to do more cooking. What endgame can we do without finishing campaign? You cannot do the pit, I think. And you cannot do hordes, I think. And you cannot do citadel, I think. But you can do Undercity if you have gone far enough in the campaign. Spiritborn, good. Log in, yes. Renown carries over from base game, yeah. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna go, I think. I need to write stuff. So, let's do that. Let's rate someone. Where someone else was blasting. We have Condis. Wait, where is that one, man? No one's streaming. I guess it's like not the time for the NM boys. Or maybe they're writing. Maybe they're actually doing their job, guys, and they're actually writing Maxwell guides. So I should be doing that too. So let's write racks. Send us enough, guys. Meetings. Actually, no meeting tonight. Actually, maybe. We'll see. It's like kind of like, you know, chaos. everyone is working, and you know, it's like a frenzy right now, right? It's always like this. Patch notes drop, and you have like 2 days, you know, get your shit done. That's kind of how it goes. Have a good one, guys.